It is Thursday, December 4th. It is time to get in the weeds. I'm Jeremy Lambert. That is SP3. And as always, we have plenty to talk about coming off of AEW Dynamite last night. There's Carlos Silva's been making the media rounds talking about TNA wrestling. So it's another day of TNA, SP3. I know that very much excites you. We have the C-Suite later on as SP3 reviews WWE Evolve featuring Kendall Gray, the greatest wrestler of all time. And we got to talk about it. You know, there's a lot to talk about in the world of hoops, and the most important thing to talk about in the world of hoops.
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. The MVP of the NBA. Yeah, I'm not making this up. For AEW Rampage, ladies and gentlemen, the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's go.
That's right, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's go.
Let's go.
A lot of trade rumors swirling with him. We're gonna get into that and so much more here today. SP3, how you doing?
I am doing well. It's a Thursday, usually my favorite day to come on In the Weeds, because I don't have to review Monday Night Raw by myself while Jeremy eats.
That's
but
not
yes,
my fault. That's WWE's fault.
hey, to each his own. But I always know on Wednesday, more than likely, I am not going to get a DQ in the main event. So I will be reviewing a show with an actual person. But yes, I'm excited to talk. I'm excited to talk about AEW. Yes, it's like I'm reviewing with a troll because you just say things to bother me and get me to rant. But yes, we're going to be talking about AEW Dynamite. We are going to be talking about the NBA because Jesus Christ. I saw a video, I think it was earlier today or yesterday, of a YouTube channel. I believe it was Low Post. Shout out to Low. He's a avid Lakers fan, and I think he said that someone told him, he was like, the NBA is just a reality show on sports. He's like, it's basically the longest running reality show for anyone who's ever played sports or likes to watch sports.
Yes, it 100% is. It's the greatest soap opera that we have. People just see the basketball and everything. No. The beauty of the NBA is everything that happens off of the court. The on-court product is very good, but
it's the fact that you can talk about it for years later. Like I'm still seeing new videos about Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah.
This happened 25 years ago. 25 years ago, people are still making videos on it because the NBA, the drama is timeless. It's timeless.
Yeah. I love the NBA drama. It is what, really makes the NBA tick with everything. We're going to get into the Chris Paul stuff. We're going to talk about the Giannis stuff as well. If you are a first-time person who is going to stick around and it won't be yelled at by me like Joel Pearl was yelling at Doug yesterday, sorry, Doug. I hope you're back today, Doug. But if you are, you might be mad that we don't talk about wrestling for like the first hour of this show because it's going to be basketball heavy for the first half hour to an hour of this show. So stick around for the basketball talk. And if you're here, leave a thumbs up on the video. That helps us out. That helps the channel out. Let's see if we can get the pyro working. Am I not high enough? There we go. Gotta tilt my camera down or something. Leave a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel, leave a super chat, get your question, comment statement right on there. If you're listening on iTunes, on Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. If we're part of your Spotify or YouTube Wrapped for some reason, if you listen to us that much, share it. Let us know on social media. We will retweet you and all those fun things. So let us know if you listen to us way too much, because we do appreciate it if you happen to be listening to us way too much. I do have the XP1 winner. Say that again?
I said they probably hate me because I'm usually the one that's yelling.
Oh, poor everybody. The chat likes Doug. Well, Graze does not like Doug. But Henry's saying Doug was an industry plant set up Joel. And Doug really wanted the NXT review yesterday. I tried to deliver the NXT
Doug,
review.
Don't you worry. Don't you worry, Doug. I'm gonna talk about NXT because I'm the one equipped to do it because I actually watched the show, and Kendall Gray was the star of the show. So we will be talking about some NXT on today's show.
All right, there we go. So we will talk, I guess, a little bit about NXT. I know we're talking about Evolve. We're heading to the C-suite with Evolve a little bit later on. And SP3 is more equipped to talk wrestling than any of us. Joel's not equipped at all. Joel's just unequipped. Me, I'm just here for a good time, not a long time. I'm here every day, but I'm not here for a long time. I'm just here for a good time. I'm here to have fun. You know what I mean? I'm not here here to give insight. That's foolish.
Hey,
they get insight.
They get the best insight from me because Nikita Lyons, Big Cat, was back on Evolve last night. Let's go. So you know my morning was about coming up with a new nickname. So you gotta cliffhanger.
We'll bring up the Nikita dancing a little bit later on. Everyone's got to stick around for that one. I do have the winner of the XP1, folks. I know I said that yesterday, and then I didn't deliver. It's Joel's fault. I'll blame him for not reminding me at the end of the show. So it's Joel's fault. SP3, please remind me to announce the XP1 winner at the end.
You're asking me to...
Chat!
Why don't you just announce it now?
Because I don't want to. You know what, actually?
November passed. Like, you can announce it now.
No. End of the show. Stick around, everybody.
Oh, jeez.
Here, I'll remind myself. Announce
right.
XP1 winner at the
put it
end
at like 12.
of the...
Put it at 12 p.m.
Not putting it at 12. It's the banner, folks. That's the banner for today.
The only way you're not able to forget is putting it right there. That's actually right. Really smart. That's actually really smart.
The ticker for today is a reminder to myself to announce the XP1 winner at the end of the show.
So I got to bring back one of my other bits, which is complaining about Joel from yesterday.
Oh, fair.
This dude does not watch NXT. Can we just like? I
said that yesterday. Yeah.
I think Jeremy said it. I think the chat said it. He does not watch NXT. He was so confused on me talking to Jeremy and being like, we both know what family Kendall Gray's been a part of, because I've been on the bit that Kendall Gray is the daughter of Kurt Angle, that her real name is Kendall Angle, but she was given away to an orphanage and then adopted by the Gray family so she could be a part of the Rainbow Color Wars, and that's why she's Kendall Gray. But he had the audacity to be, why is she related to Kurt Angle? Like, you never seen her in the ring? What are you watching? You literally are saying, she's good in the ring, and then why is she Kurt Angle? She has a amateur wrestling background. She pulls down the straps. He had the audacity to say, does she pull down the straps? Literally, I'm watching Evolve today. She pulls down this every time she goes to the gray area and hits shades of gray. She pulls down the straps. Kendall Angle. Watch NXT, or I'm going to have to do 3 shows a week every week. Damn.
Joel doesn't watch NXT. I don't know if Joel watches wrestling at all. Like, he lies about watching wrestling.
He watches it. He's admitted he watches it at 2.5 speed. So he's watching. He is not watching wrestling. He is watching The Flash.
I mean, I listen to podcasts in 2.5 speed.
That's
fine.
That's fine, because you don't have to look at the screen. Like, it doesn't. That's not really like, you're just hearing it. And if some people can hear a lot faster than they can see, but most of the time people can see on the same kind of. You have 20/20 vision, but if it's going really fast, you're not really knowing what's going on.
Our poll question today, folks, is which promotion does Joel hate more? TNA. I think there's an argument for TNA, because I think he has to hate watch TNA.
Yes.
At this point, yeah.
There is
NXT, which I don't think he fully watches, but he still hates because too much just happens on that show, and he has to talk about it on Wednesday.
He literally said, "Stuff happened. I'm mad." Like, what? I was like, that's why I was happy that you kind of affirmed my belief. I was like, that was actually a pretty decent episode of NXT. I think I know a pretty decent episode of NXT because I watch the slop they give us every week. So you kind of can know the difference between a decent episode and the slop they usually give us.
And of course, AEW is the third option here because I don't think Joel likes all the wrestling that happens on AEW. It's like there's too many matches on this show.
Too many matches. I don't like it. No, you should have done shows. So it could have been TNA Impact, NXT, AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision. Because you got to have two choices for AEW. Because he hates that the most.
We'll just put it all in AEW. No. That's the poll question. Which promotion does Joel hate more? TNA, NXT, AEW. I think we're doing this poll when he's not here. He'll show up in the chat at some point. I'll be like, why is this poll question? Why is it this? He'll listen back. He's like, what'd they say fuck me for?
I mean, I haven't done this bit in a while, Joel, to be fair. I haven't done the bit. You know?
Is it a bit, SP3? Is it really a bit? SP3 got mad at Joel last night because because the thumbnail. So I had to take care of something last night, and so I missed a chunk of Dynamite. I went back and I rewatched it, but I missed a chunk of Dynamite, and I let our chat know. I was like, hey, I missed a chunk of Dynamite. Can you set up the show, Joel? Because like I'm not gonna get through it until past like 10:15 whenever the show actually ends, and then I got to go back and rewatch what I watched. So I didn't end up finishing Dynamite until like 11:30 because I missed like an entire hour of the show. So I didn't end up finishing the show until like 11:30 or so. And after the show, Joe goes, "What's the thumbnail?" And I saw that the GOAT Luther had returned, and so I was like, well, Luther's return obviously is the thumbnail. And of course, I'm being me saying Luther because, yes, that was, spoiler alert, everybody, my moment of Wednesday will be Luther's return. So I was like, yeah, Luther's return. And so that's what he made the thumbnail. And SB3 was like, why is this the thumbnail? It's got to be...
I literally put my... Before he actually showed us the thumbnail, it was like 30 minutes after y'all did y'all messages, and I said, I say either Joe and Kingston or Claudio beating Mox. I think that should be the thumbnail. And he said, oops, and then puts up the thumbnail. I was like, I'm calling out.
So I was going to, if SB3 did not show up today, I was going to do the entire Dynamite review as Tony Khan because I think I could pull that off. Or I was just going to talk about Luther and act like the rest of Dynamite didn't happen, which I'm sure people would have also enjoyed, is that I just fully ignore Dynamite. So that was going to be my Dynamite review. But Joel did change the thumbnail. But SP3, I read all your texts in your voice now, especially when I can tell like you're getting angry about things. But I when you're like, this man admitted he missed a chunk of Dynamite. Like he admitted this, Joel.
Because he did this before. He's done this before. I literally came on here before and talked about, hey guys, the reason it's this is because Joel listened to Jeremy after Jeremy told him he's not watching the show, but yet he's going to him for advice on what should be the thumbnail. The guy who's not watching the show. I was like, this man literally told you that he's not watching the show and you still listen to him. I thought you learned this lesson.
Yeah, this has been like during the playoffs. I was like, do not bug me with the thumbnail or anything. Like, I'm watching basketball. I do not care what the thumbnail is or anything like that. Yeah, Joel still asks, like, what's the thumbnail? I don't care. Knock it off. Don't annoy me. I'm watching Tyrese Halliburton go flamethrower on my team right now. I cannot possibly care about wrestling at this point. I want to get hit by a car. I don't care what happened on your wrestling show right now. Yeah, SV3 is getting mad. I finally had to like step in. I was like, yeah, probably Joe and Kingston should be the thumbnail. Like, you should probably change to Luther. Although Luther should be the thumbnail. To acknowledge Joel's work on Luther's thumbnail, I will pop that up on the screen here in a second. I should probably like save it. It was very good. I mean, it's Luther. I was so happy to see him back. That was during the portion that I missed, so I was like just scrolling my phone and I saw he came back. I was like, oh hell yeah, the GOAT Luther is back. And of course I had to do like an article just for, you know, that's my guy. So
Absolutely.
for the pop, had to do the article. All right, so here's the Luther thumbnail that Joel did make that is going unused. There you go, everybody. Look at this, man. He gave Marina Shafir a nice gift there.
Yeah, beautiful gift.
Glad his groin is healed up. Cause
yeah, it took him a while. He had a 5-month groin injury. So
well, you know, it's a lot of groin to heal there.
That is true. He is a large man.
Yeah. Who is backing up?
I have no idea, but I'm slightly disturbed at how long cars are in our neighborhood that I can hear them from up here.
Yeah,
I'm on the 18th floor, ladies and gentlemen. You would think that I'm like right on the first floor with how y'all are able to hear these sounds outside my window when it's shut.
I mean, it's it's New York, so
yeah.
I feel like everything's just
New York sounds. Don't worry, guys. You only got two more weeks. 2 more weeks of New York sounds.
You head back to the UK?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
For the holidays, you gotta be out there. It's better for me. Well, not yes and no. I like New York during the holidays, but
yeah. Okay. I just assume all of New York is like Home Alone during the holidays.
I mean, sort of. When it snows, yeah, it does look like Home Alone. It does. Okay. I try to go down the Central Park during those times that time of the year.
Yeah, I just assume again it all looks like Home Alone out there in New York for the holidays.
I always wanted to be Kevin McAllister after seeing Home Alone Lost in New York. Then one day I was like 8-9 years old. I went to Trump Plaza. I didn't even get through the front door. So much for that.
I mean, I was gonna say, why did you get through the front door? But it's Trump Plaza. I assume they're just being racist.
You know, I was a little bit lighter, and I had a Spanish accent, so they got confused.
I watched one episode of Atlanta since the last time we talked, and it's the one where Van is French, essentially. That episode's hilarious. She starts beating that dude with the baguette. She's like, "Do you know how?" Yeah, do you know how like hard a French baguette or baguette, however you want to pronounce it? Do you know how long a French baguette sits out? How hard it gets if it sits out for like a day, a week, a month, 6 months? And she starts beating that dude's ass with that thing. I was dying. And Alexander Skarsgård is in there, just being a weirdo.
Pervert that Van like slaps around and then he jerks off in the bathroom.
Yeah. Sets him up with meth and everything. That was a hilarious episode. I didn't know what to expect on that one, but that was good. Yeah,
it was so good. It was so good. But it's good writing as well, because it's basically Van has like a down. You see, like if you go back and you remember like all the episodes that you saw before it, you see like the slow descent into madness that Van had throughout season 3, because it really starts in season 2 when her and Earn break up. And then the Drake episode when she's like searching for something that gives her kind of like the high that she got with Earn, and then the beginning of season 3 when she just shows up in Europe to follow them along, and then she just dips on them.
Yeah, I was like, because they do that party, and like she just like disappears from that thing. You don't know where she ends up. I was like, did they leave her? Because they had to book it out of there during that party.
When she pushes the server.
Yeah. Yeah, but they had to dip out of the party because Paperboy didn't get his money and
Yes.
everything.
And he
And
cuts down the tree.
He cuts down the tree. Yeah. I was like, did they leave Van? Did she leave? What happened there? And then she like literally does not resurface until this episode. So
Because she doesn't even reply to the text.
Yeah,
she doesn't
yeah.
reply to the text that Ern's looking for. But we did see her in the other episode. I forget which one it was, but when Ern sees her in the hotel and they spend the night with each other.
Right. Yeah. There was that one. I do like when she's talking to Candace at the end of this episode. She's like,
Yes.
a few weeks ago, I was in New York. It's like, wait a second, you did this whole French?
you became a whole new person.
Yeah,
You became Amelie.
right.
And it's based on a movie that actually has a bunch of Easter eggs in this episode as well.
I was like, yeah, you became this whole like French killer and drug dealer person in like a few weeks. So this party was like 2 weeks ago then, because you got to factor in.
Yeah.
She gets there, she's hanging out in Amsterdam and everything. Then they go to the party. So it's like you became this person in like 2 weeks with everything. Jesus, you lived the whole life in 2 weeks. Good for you.
She was doing the damn thing and feeding people hands. Oh my god!
Oh, that was
reveal.
Yeah, like panko baked hams over here. I was like, Jesus, what are we doing?
Preparing it like it's fucking chicken and stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was like making fried hands out here. I did like Skarsgård on that. He's like, let me get those hands. Like, where are those hands at?
He's like, let's get to those hands.
That was a very good episode, though. That was good.
Yeah.
All right, World of NBA SP3. Let's start with the Chris Paul stuff, because at about 3 a.m. on Monday night, we learned that Chris Paul was being dismissed by the Los Angeles Clippers. The reunion, the retirement tour did not go as planned because after 20 games, they dismissed him. They said, get off the team. They hadn't won anything all year. He wasn't even playing much of the games for most of the year. And then they said, you got to go. And it came out that there was apparently a lot of disagreements between him and management, specifically Ty Lue and even Lawrence Frank. And they were not happy that he was basically being vocal and calling out teammates and management of like, what are we doing out here? And Chris Paul he's had a lot of stops on his career, and some have gone well and some have not gone well. He's worn out his welcome in a lot of places. You listen to a lot of people how they've affected him and how his leadership style has kind of worn thin after a little while. But then you look at his time in OKC, and Shea has praised him for being a great mentor. Wemby has said good things about him for the time in San Antonio last year. So he's also had some good stops along his career. But he went back to the Clippers hoping to have one last run on the team that he helped establish. And honestly, he's the greatest Clipper of all time. There's not a whole lot of competition for that mantle, but he has it. He is the greatest player in organizational history. And they said at 3 a.m. in Atlanta, you got to go. What did you think when you saw all this?
Part of me wanted to laugh. I'll be honest. Because if you
shouldn't
have
laugh,
watched,
and I'll tell you why.
I'm not laughing at Chris Paul. I'm laughing at the Clippers.
Fair.
Clippers are embarrassing. They're an embarrassing organization that literally had an FX show last year about one of their biggest scandals in organization history. And then they do this the following year. But the part of me that laugh is remembering all these people, all you people in 2019 that got so excited when Kawhi Leonard signed with this organization. And that will go down as one of the worst decisions in Clipper history. Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
Okay.
It led to this situation that they in. They let him handcuff them. He let them handcuff them a long time ago. I've been saying this for 2-3 years now that this is one of the worst signings in NBA history because he's not like he's the worst superstar. He doesn't promote the organization. He doesn't do what other superstars does. He's not a merchandise marketing genius. He's not likable. He's not personable. He's not funny. I mean, he's only funny if he's laughing, but he's not funny in general. Like, there's nothing about Kawhi Leonard that screams superstar. And the irreversible damage that he has done to this organization is outrageous, and not enough people are talking about it. And now people are talking about it on ESPN. Congratulations, because I've been saying this for 2.5 years. But anyway, what they did to Chris Paul is completely disrespectful.
Hold on. I've seen a lot of this of always the worst signing in NBA history, and the Paul George trade is the worst trade in NBA. It's worse than the Luka trade. That's what Richard Jefferson said. It's worse than the Luka trade. Look, in hindsight, can we say this? Yeah, it's a little bit easier to say this in hindsight because it certainly hasn't worked out. And then you look on the other side of things, the Oklahoma City Thunder are thriving. So that doesn't help matters. Now, if the Thunder were still like a middling team who Shea just became like a good player, but not the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander that we see today, and it's like, all right, like it was maybe a good trade for both teams, bad trade for both teams. But let's look at it at the time. And I think this is where, again, people just get too caught up in the hindsight of things. Kawhi Leonard is coming off a championship, finals MVP in 2019, championship with the Toronto Raptors. He was a top 3 player in the league. There's no arguing that Kawhi Leonard was not a top 3 player in the league at that time. Paul George was coming off an MVP season. He finished 3rd in MVP voting that year. So he was coming off his best season of his career. The Clippers hadn't done a whole lot. The Clippers needed some type of splash. They were an 8th seed. They played well against the Warriors. You know, they were a scrappy little underdog team. They gave the Warriors a little bit of fight and everything. Like, you make that. You don't say, oh, we're not going to sign Kawhi Leonard. Again, you're not going to sign a top 3 player. We can't say this is the worst signing ever when we got, sorry to your Lakers, SB3. They're handing out $200 million contracts to Timothy Mozgov and Luol Deng. Those were terrible signings and terrible contracts that people knew at the time were not good. He's like, what has Luol Deng done? What has Timothy Mozgov done? Ben Gordon getting all this money from the Pistons. Ben Wallace getting all this money from the Cavs. There's been so many bad signings over the year. Where bad signings you knew. Chandler Parsons, they gave him like $250 million. Chandler Parsons was like the third best player on a Rockets team, and they paid him like a superstar out here.
I think that you look at it a little bit differently than I do. If we're talking about wrestling, if I was asked what's the worst major event of the year for me personally, it would be Survivor Series. For some people, it would be WrestlePalooza, but I felt more hype going into Survivor Series and was more let down by that. Lakers signing Timothy Mozgov to that contract, they got what they expected, or they got what they deserved for that signing. The Clippers expected this changing of the guard, this whole thing that was going to bring them championship glory, bring them to the NBA Finals, turn their whole franchise around. It definitely turned their whole franchise around, but in the wrong way. That is why it is being referred to as one of the worst free agent signings. We already knew who Timothy Mozgov was when the Lakers signed him. It was stupid. That's the stupidest free agent signing. It's not the worst. Worse, I think, to me, worse is high expectations and disappointing value. I think that is what I define as worse.
Okay. I would consider it the most disappointing signing. I think it is worse when you know you are not going to get a good return on investment and you do it anyway. That is not a good move.
We're fine now. We're fine now. We
Oh,
got over that. We recovered from that. We recovered from that like 4 years after. No, 3 years after that because we signed LeBron James. But the Clippers, they signed Kawhi Leonard 6 years ago, and it's only gotten worse.
It's been very disappointing. Again, I think you can consider it the most disappointing signing in NBA history. I would not argue that. Again, to me, it is far worse to invest in something that you know is bad. Hey, let me invest in poison. Let me spend $500 million on poison.
You might need poison.
You
might need
know
to poison somebody.
That's going to be bad.
Sounds like a pretty good investment to me.
I'm saying you're investing it in yourself. You're going to put own poison in you. You're Vince McMahon out here. I'm injecting poison into my own company. You know that is going to be bad.
You might have a multi-million-dollar insurance and you just want to make sure your family is good. So I could come up with answers for
But you don't. You don't have multi-million-dollar insurance. You don't. You're just going to die. You know
the Los Angeles Lakers and the Bus family do. What are you talking about? We gotta understand what we're talking about here. I think that this is objectively worse because of what everyone expected. Everyone expected that this was going to be a great investment, but it's mainly not because of what he's done; is what he hasn't done. He hasn't done what a superstar is supposed to do. Yeah. He's played 270 games out of a possible 496 over the last 6 seasons. That is outrageous. That is an outrageous stat in general, that this is supposed to be the guy that's supposed to carry you and take you to the promised land, and he's not even here for 50% of the games, nearly 50% of the games.
I'm completely with you. It is
and the Paul George trade is a horrible trade because it's 5 draft picks. I am sorry.
Oh.
5 draft picks for a guy that got his leg broken 5 seasons earlier. I don't care if he's coming off 3rd place in MVP voting. That is outrageous.
You also have to look at the Paul George thing. And again, maybe this hurts your estimate of the trade because the Kawhi part of it was so disappointing. They weren't getting Kawhi without Paul George. So
exactly. He handcuffed. Yes. He put a gun to their head.
Oh, he did.
You got to give up 5 draft picks and get the guy I want to play with. That also adds to it being a horrible signing because you weren't going to do it without this horrible trade.
But again, this is a move you make if you are the Clippers at the time. Nobody at the time. If you're going to call something the worst, tell me it's the worst at the time. Because everyone universally praised this move at the time. You mean to tell me you're getting a top 3 MVP candidate, all defensive player coming off his best season ever, plus the finals MVP and a top 3 player in the league right now? You have the chance to get them? Yeah, you do it. This is what I don't understand. We're about to talk. Hold on. But
I will say, I was one person that said they're not going to win the championship. I said it from the very beginning. I was like, if this is a signing for you to win the championship, you're not going to get it. So this is a bad signing.
Okay. You still got to take the shot off of that. Like, you might not win a championship. They didn't. They got to 1 conference finals. But it's still something you do off of this. I forgot what. Okay. We were talking about. Or we're about to talk about Giannis. This is what I don't understand about these organizations now of like, oh, I don't want to give up that player for Giannis. Oh, I can't give up that guy for Giannis. This is Giannis. What are we talking about? You don't want to give up this 5 draft picks for Giannis. You don't want to give up. I've seen Lakers fans like, oh, I don't know about giving up Austin Reeves for Giannis. Like, what, huh? Austin Reeves is a good player. Austin Reeves is also like 26. Like, he's not like a 21-year-old just coming up, and there's a lot of room. There's a lot of potential room there. You're getting Giannis. You're getting a top 3 player in this deal. Yes, you give up whoever you got to give up to get Giannis. Like, you go after these guys. It doesn't matter. The draft picks might turn out to be great. You might not win a title with Giannis. It's a risk you take to put yourself in a position to win a championship, because those championships do last. I'll go to the LA Rams in football. They gave up all those draft picks to get Matthew Stafford. And look, this worked out for the Lions. Jared Goff's playing well. They drafted very well. But they gave up all these draft picks for Matthew Stafford. It's like, wait, why would you give up that much for Matthew Stafford? It's like, well, we think Matthew Stafford's going to help us win a championship. And he did. Sometimes it doesn't work out. You give up all these draft picks and it doesn't work out and you don't end up winning a championship.
It worked out on the other side of Staples Center. We gave up all these young players and draft picks to get Anthony Davis, and we won the championship.
Right.
That was a better trade.
And that was a trade you make. Like that was a trade you make. But if, let's say, the Lakers didn't win a championship, is it a failed trade then? It's like, oh, well, that was the worst trade ever because we traded all this young talent. Look how well Brandon Ingram is playing now. Lonzo ended up getting hurt.
It's nothing too great. I think Brandon Ingram's having a great year. Don't get me wrong, but it's just turning out that way. 6 years later, I think even if we didn't win the championship, it would still look fine because Anthony Davis was a top 5 player. I don't think Paul George was a top 5 player when they traded for him. So that's another reason why I think that this was an ill-advised trade. But as far as Giannis goes, he's going to San Antonio because that's the only way we could save this league.
That's what I'm most afraid of, is if he goes to San Antonio. Real quickly on the Kawhi thing and Paul George thing, one last point. Calling the Paul George trade the worst, again, most disappointing, sure. I won't argue. I mean, that was great for me. I love that trade. That trade set up the franchise that I love for the future.
5 draft picks and a future MVP who at the time looked like a rising star already.
Yeah, he was great in his rookie year, and you could see the potential there in his rookie year. The fact that they were like, we'll give up Shea instead of Terrence Mann, like, all right, well, that could be a misevaluation of talent right there that they got to live with. But hey, again, worked out great for my team. I got no problem with it. I can call it most disappointing. It's tough for me to say.
I don't do that trade. I said it at the time. I'll say it now. I don't do that trade.
All right.
Not for that guy.
Okay.
I know it's to get Kawhi. I know that's what it's really about, but that trade specifically, the reason why it gets the moniker or people talking about it the way it does, because I don't know a lot of people who would do that trade for Paul George.
Oh, everyone at the time was doing that trade. You are the minority on this. Everyone was doing that trade at the time. Everyone was like, oh yeah, you're the Clipper, you have to do this. Again, Kawhi Leonard, finals MVP, coming off a finals MVP. Top 3 player, without question. Top 3 player.
Yeah. He's a top 5 player. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul George, okay, maybe you don't consider him a top 5 player at the time. He was still top 3 in MVP voting. He was still coming off the best season that he had had. He was definitely a top 10 player in the league at that time. So you're getting 2 top 10 players to add to your team. A team that was an 8th seed, and they played the Warriors well. You're giving up Gallinari, who, okay, a little bit older, veteran guy, not like great or anything, and you're giving up Shea, who was a rookie. At the time, like, you got to look at it from the perspective of what can you do to win now. Now they didn't win now, and that's why people knock it, and rightfully so, because you can look at it in hindsight and say this. I can look at it in hindsight and say most disappointing. I don't like looking at a trade in hindsight and calling it the worst ever when at the time people praised it universally. Again, maybe you did it. Maybe I'm sure there were others that didn't, but the majority of people did. I look at the Luka trade where that was like, wait, in real time, everyone said this is a god-awful trade. In real time.
I think the Luka trade is much worse.
Okay, but people now are saying, yes, people now are saying that the Paul George trade is worse than the Luka trade. And
no, that's just sports talk. Sports talk to be different is because Clippers. It's rag on the Clippers time. I don't think everybody actually believes that. I think the Luka trade. The Luka trade got met with disbelief Like that is something that is rarely ever done. So
Okay, but
I
Richard
think
Jefferson, you can say Richard Jefferson
I don't
is
believe a word Richard Jefferson ever said
fine, but he's
from his
saying
rookie
it.
season on the New Jersey Nets.
Okay, but
So,
he's saying it. He is saying it's the worst trade. The Paul George trade is worse than the Luka trade. He's saying it. I don't believe it. I don't think it's true. But this is what Richard Jefferson's putting out there. And he's not the only person to say this. There are people who are bad. Maybe, again, it's the minority of people. But people are saying it, that it's worse. I don't agree with that. Because at the time of the Paul George trade, people praised it. Universally praised it. At the time of the Luka trade, everyone was like, this is a terrible, terrible idea. And the only way it's getting a little bit salvaged is because they lucked into the number 1 pick. Literally lucked into it because it's a lottery. You don't plan to win the lottery, especially when you had the odds that they had.
Oh, so they say.
They're going to end up trading Anthony Davis for scrap pieces from the Chicago Bulls. And so in the end, the Anthony Davis
You think
trade...
he's going to the Bulls?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out
I
there.
think he's going to the Knicks.
I
think the Knicks will try to get Giannis, and then eventually we'll just have to go down to Anthony Davis.
Who are the Knicks trading for Anthony Davis?
I know Knicks fans want a world where Anthony Davis or Giannis will be on their team and they would still have Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. I don't see that world. I don't know if that world exists. I think you have to give up Cat and OG maybe. It's because to even out with the money, because OG is like their biggest contract of a guy that they would give up. So I think it's like a Cat OG, maybe a draft pick or something like that. Some combination like that will go to Dallas.
I'm not giving up both those guys for Anthony Davis. I'm sorry.
For
Giannis, yes. For Anthony Davis, no. I don't think Anthony Davis transforms your team that much to give up 2 players.
And that's the main reason why I think they're doing the whole let's try to keep Brunson and Cat. So they're trying to come up with a package of like OG, Josh Hart, and freaking all these draft picks for Anthony Davis or Giannis.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, the Bucks are not taking that package, but the Dallas might be desperate enough.
I wouldn't. If I'm the Knicks, I wouldn't trade that for him. I've never believed in Anthony Davis, especially since he won the title. Great in the bubble, fantastic bubble player. Haven't seen it since then, and he's only declined since then. So I would not trade that much for Anthony Davis. I don't think he transforms your team enough to do that. You're gonna play Cat and Anthony Davis together. One, Anthony Davis is only gonna play in about 20% of those games, so you're short out there. I think OG's a better fit on that team than Anthony Davis. I think Mikal Bridges is a better fit on that team than Anthony Davis. I'd go after Giannis that hard. I'd give up whoever for Giannis, but I would not do that for Anthony Davis. I say the Bulls because the Bulls have always been kind of linked to Anthony Davis. It's his hometown. He acts like he likes them he basically uses them as leverage. The Bulls want to make some type of splash. By the way, where are those Bulls fans at chirping about Josh Giddey and Alex Caruso now? Your little 5-game winning streak where Josh Giddey was, averaging a triple-double and stuff. Like, oh, we fleeced. We look at the trade. We fleeced them. How's that working now? I think Josh Giddey's a great player. He's had a very good season. Y'all winning games right now. Like I said then, you want Josh Giddey for 5 games in November, or you want him in June? He ain't playing in June. Alex Caruso will be playing in June. Get out of here with those Bulls fans chirping at us, talking about, oh, look, we won the trade. We fleeced you guys. 5 games in November. Fuck out of here with that. Talk to me about championships. Oh, wait. Can't talk about championships since Jordan left.
Yeah, where is Chicago Phil? Because Chicago Phil was one of those people who was jumping on the Clipper bandwagon back in 2019. Like, oh, the Clippers going to be better than the Lakers. Oh, man.
Phil's a LeBron hater, though. So
I know. He got what he deserved.
Yeah, he's a full-on LeBron hater. We had a super chat from Volib about Chris Paul, and then we will talk Giannis and trades with Giannis. But follow-up says, man, F the Clippers. Hopefully CP3 can bench ride to a ring to retirement by ending up on OKC somehow. I've said it of OKC. I thought that they could have and should have traded for him last season because he was playing well last season. I thought they could use a secondary creator because I didn't love the bench creation last season, and I thought he could like just help mitigate all of that. It didn't happen, and kind of rightfully so that it didn't happen. And now this year, the problem with adding him this year is OKC actually values roster spots, and they would rather play and have like Osman Deng on a roster spot than give that to Chris Paul. They'd rather have a two-way guy. I guess he doesn't technically take up a roster spot, but they'd rather have that than give that to Chris. They'd rather have the flexibility than effectively lock themselves into, hey, we gotta keep Chris Paul, or because you have to keep Chris Paul if you sign him. You're not gonna trade him. You're not gonna release him afterwards. So I don't think they're gonna end up with Chris Paul. Is it the best situation for him? Yeah, probably, because that team has leadership. That team has a hierarchy. I don't think Chris Paul is going to go in there and try to burn all of that down. They also win. Winning cures a lot of issues. Are the Clippers going to be this much of a mess if they're winning? No. Everyone gets along better when you're winning. And then when you're losing, especially these veteran teams, they got to find somebody to blame. And Chris Paul has been a scapegoat for a lot of the veteran teams that have lost. But he's not the only one. I mean, Russell Westbrook got blamed in LA when they were losing because it's a veteran team that did not live up to expectations. Like, oh, well, we can't blame LeBron. We can't blame Anthony Davis. Let's blame Russ. If you're a veteran team, if you're a veteran team, you find somebody to blame. And a lot of times the person who gets blamed is kind of the most vocal guy out there. And if Chris Paul was being vocal of like, we need to do things differently, and the team wasn't winning, and you have a guy like Kawhi who marches to the beat of his own drum, you have a guy like Harden who kind of does his own thing out there, yeah, it probably would be like, why is this guy talking? He doesn't play. He doesn't do anything. I thought it was a weird fit in the first place. Like, I thought it was a good move. I'm not going to, in hindsight, say that, like, oh, yeah, of course this went down the tank. But I'm pretty sure I said this at the time.
I could say that.
Yeah. I did say at the time of, like, what's the situation with Harden and Paul? Because they didn't get along by the end of their Houston tenure. Harden more or less openly said, yeah, this guy's got to go, and that's why they traded for Westbrook. I was like, what? Time heals all wounds, I guess. It's been 5-6 years since all that happened. So I figured, it's two veteran guys. They were good last season. They went to a Game 7 with the Nuggets. They want to win. They want to get that ring finally. Chris Paul's a franchise legend. Like, yeah, maybe we can, maybe they can mend things. Clearly something happened to where it didn't end up working out. I do think the Clippers as an organization, it's not a good look, though. This is the best player in franchise history. They have 0 jerseys retired. They fake retired Blake Griffin's jersey and then traded him to Detroit. Not a good Detroit team either, mind you. A mediocre Detroit team. And regardless, still Detroit when he was in LA. They put him with Nelson Mandela and Gandhi and Obama, and they did a fake jersey retirement for him. And then 5 months later, traded him to Detroit for scrap pieces, for Tobias Harris out here.
And this is like universally, especially in this generation, this is universally known as the top 2 players in Clippers history.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt, they are the top 2 players in Clippers history. Chris Paul, number 1, like, no debate.
I think there's here. No. We did that. We did the whole who we thought was the GOAT of every team, and Chris Paul won it easily for the Clippers.
Yeah, no debating out there. So, yes, there's.
It's so disrespectful. It shows like the Clippers have no respect for their history, no respect for legacies, no respect for legends like CP3. Like, regardless of what he was saying, it came from a good place. And obviously he wanted to talk it all out because he felt the tension a bit. And like, this is a bad look. Like, this is probably the worst look for Ty Lue as a head coach that we've seen. This is probably the worst look for Ty Lue in professional basketball since Allen Iverson walked over him. Like this is a black eye on his whole reputation because he's part of the whole management that kind of treated Chris Paul like a second class citizen. He didn't want to talk to him. Like, regardless of where y'all relationship is at, if a player on your team and you're the head coach, he wants to speak to you to just let it all out, to have a meeting, to have a one-on-one, and you refuse, like you weren't on speaking terms, and then you refuse to talk to him after you weren't on speaking terms, like you don't even want things to get better. You wanted him out of there. It's obvious.
Yeah. The Clippers are going to be the Clippers, though. That's just who they are.
I love the fact that Lob City did the group call.
I got a lot.
I had a lot of Lakers fans who loved my tweet where I retweeted it. I was like, they ended the call with 1, 2, 3, fuck the Clipper.
That was very funny that they all got on a FaceTime chat with each other. To hear those stories that.
Yo, from freaking Donald Sterling to Stephen Ballmer. Oh my god. Oh, feel for those guys. Like, literally, that's the only time in history that the Clippers were actually better than the Lakers is Lob City. Lob City in the mid 2010s is the only time in my lifetime that the Clippers were better than the Lakers.
We're going to set this up one more time because this clip never gets old.
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. The MVP of the NBA. Yeah, I'm not making this up. For AEW Rampage, ladies and gentlemen, the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's go.
So the Bucks lost to the Wizards the other night. And Giannis said this is the last straw. I'm out of here. I'm done with this. We're losing to the Wizards. I can't win. I can't win with these cats. We're out.
It'd be like me. It'd be like me just being like, yo, we lost to Busted Open in the ratings. I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
In fairness, like they're actually well established.
I know. I'm kidding.
Have talent.
I'm kidding. I just wanted the opportunity to compare Busted Open to the Washington Wizards.
They lost to the Wizards, and then a lot came out about Giannis's future, and they were going to have a discussion of what it could mean. And unfortunately, last night against the Pistons, he goes down with a non-contact injury, and they ruled out an Achilles injury. We don't have an official update as of now. They called it a calf strain. It looked very similar to the injury he had a couple years ago in the playoffs where he ended up missing the rest of the playoffs and didn't return. And we don't know how long he would have been out for that because they got eliminated, and he missed all those games, and it didn't seem like he was ever close to returning on there. So we don't know how long he's going to be out at the moment. But of course, the trade rumor, the Bucks ended up winning that game against a good Pistons team to a shorthanded Bucks team without Giannis. So I don't think that's going to change his mind or anything. But for the Bucks, like it's gotta feel good for them. But the trade rumors are swirling with Giannis. I mean, I guess the Mavericks can just trade Anthony Davis for him because that seems to get you a top 3 player, apparently. So it can offer that up, right?
Yeah, for 5 draft picks. So, that's the best way to get a top 3 player in the league. I mean, I just found it hilarious. That was another thing that I found hilarious. I found all this news about the NBA pretty hilarious. That Giannis didn't even wait for the downslide. Like, they lost every single game without him. And then he lost one game, but it's to the Washington Wizards. Like, this is an abysmal loss. Like, this is them losing to, like, no, but I'm talking about but I know it's been gathering up the whole season, but he just was back for one game and he just said, you know what? That's it. that is hilarious to me. I find that funny. But I
They
mean, we
suck
started off
without
this.
him, though.
Yeah, they do, but we knew this. We knew this at the beginning of the year when he went on social media and posted up, "Oh, I'm wearing the Milwaukee jersey. Oh, I'm putting the jersey up in Italy. I'm doing all of this." We were talking about, oh, Giannis is just gonna stay in the Bucks. He's gonna be loyal to the Bucks. Maybe they'll turn it around. We were fooled by their first couple of weeks of the season when they were playing well, when they won 5 straight, and now they're pretty much what we expected from them at the beginning of the season. Probably even worse because they didn't have Giannis for a few games. But Giannis, I don't see them trading him this season. I just don't see it. Like, people think that, superstar requests a trade, that's automatically he's gonna leave. No, I've experienced it myself. My favorite player of all time, Kobe Bean Bryant, he requested his trade going into the 2007-2008 season, and what did the Lakers do? They went to the trade deadline and they got Pau Gasol to convince him to stay long term with the Los Angeles Lakers. It might take something like that to convince Giannis to stay, but if they don't make any moves, they don't make any improvements to this roster, which I don't see them doing anything significant, the offseason, I do see Giannis leaving.
A lot's obviously going to come down to what this injury is, because if he is out for months, it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be more difficult to trade him, because I still think you'll have suitors for Giannis. I do think the Bucks would be in less of a rush to do it, though. Of, hey, let's bide our time. Like you said, maybe we can tinker around with the roster and be a little bit more competitive. But Miles Turner was their, hey, we did something here. And look, Miles Turner is a fine player. I didn't love the fit from the very beginning. I understood the move because you were trying to tell Giannis we are doing something, and you hurt the Pacers, and the Pacers are the team that has beaten you in the last 2 years. So it worked out two ways there. But I didn't love the fit for the Bucks in that regard. And Miles Turner has been a guy, like, not really great, but he's just been a guy for them. The rest of the roster, it wasn't a good roster to start the season. Now people have upped their value a little bit. Maybe you can move some guys and, again, just make some moves around the edges to convince him, like, hey, we want you to stay here. Look, we are trying. And I don't think it's ever been for a lack of trying with Milwaukee. Look, you want to talk about worst trades in hindsight, that Damian Lillard trade sure doesn't look very good right now. But that's still a trade you make 10 out of 10 times when it's presented to you. But it certainly, in hindsight, does not look very good. I mean, they didn't even get anything in return for Lillard. They are still paying Damian Lillard. He ain't even on the team anymore. And they lost Drew Holiday, who was integral in a championship team and is still playing well on Portland, and went to Boston to help them win a championship. So that, you want to talk about, again, worst trades, that's one of the worst trades right there, because in hindsight we have the benefit to see how bad it actually was. But, like, the Bucks make moves. Sometimes they don't work out, but I give them efforts for trying to do stuff, for trying to do things around Giannis. When you're capped with what you have because you did make the Dame move and you had to waive and stretch him, you spent a lot of money on Miles Turner. Giannis obviously has a big contract. You're paying Bobby Portis a lot of money. Like, Kyle Kuzma has a pretty decent-sized contract. Like, it's tough to do things. I think they're going to try to continue to make moves. I don't know what it's going to be. The injury, if he's out for a little while, will buy them time. If he's out for the season, there's no reason to trade him, honestly. Yeah. And I don't think any team would want to trade. Why trade for a guy who's not going to play this year? You're losing the assets you have this year and getting one less year of Giannis because he's out for the year. If he's back in a couple of weeks, where's the conversation at then is what I want to know. What do you think?
The conversation is they got to tell him we're not going to trade you this season, and I don't know what that leads to. I don't know what Giannis is going to do in response. We've seen players do crazy stuff. James Harden wore a fat suit when he went to get traded from Houston after requesting his trade, and it wasn't granted.
I
So
don't think Giannis is James Harden levels of dickhead.
but I'm just saying, we don't know what how these superstars will react if you're not giving them what they wanted, if they want to be traded off this team. And this team is abysmal. This team is not good. At least when Kobe requested his trade before the 2007-2008 season, even those Lakers teams that were not that good had Lamar Odom on them. And I know Lamar Odom is a crackhead now, but he was actually really good for his day. He was a fringe all-star consideration in his peak. So yeah, Lamar Odom was at least better than the Bucks team of currently. I would take Lamar Odom in 2007 over Miles Turner in 2025. So I think the Lakers without Kobe is actually better than the Bucks without Giannis. This team is not good. So I'm hoping that Giannis gets the hell out of there by the offseason. And yes, we need help. We need to save this league. We just got through the whole Warriors dynasty where they almost ruined the league for a couple of years and people stopped liking the league for a while because they had Kevin Durant. Then we got over that. We've been in this era of parity, and now we have this super team that is made up of draft picks. This draft pick super team, they drafted most of these people in one ridiculous trade that is one of the worst of all time. This team is going to just wipe out the whole entire league. They might go on the first three-peat in 25 years, and I don't want that. I want my Lakers to be the only three-peat until I'm old, and I can tell my kids' that my Los Angeles Lakers were the last team to win a three-peat. We need to stop all of that. Giannis, I saw Jose in the chat. He was like, oh, Giannis is probably going to say he wants to go to the Lakers, Warriors, Spurs, or Knicks. No, he will not say the Spurs. The Spurs is not, regardless of the Spurs being a dynasty, they're not the large market. That's where Giannis wants to go. He wants to go to the biggest markets possible. He's been on record, even before the trade request, that he wants the European players to be in the biggest market. So the biggest markets are Lakers, Warriors, Knicks. That's probably going to be his wish list. No, you need to go to the Spurs. That's the only way. That's the only way that will make a real difference here. And they have the trade package to actually give the Bucks a good start to their rebuild. It's the Spurs. Let's not even think hard about this. Let's stop giving the Knicks fans any copium or any hope that they have that they're going to do a trade that allows them to keep Brunson and Cat and get Giannis. Fuck you for that. Any Lakers fans who's putting up memes with Giannis with a Lakers jersey saying we'll give up half the roster and just keep Luka, LeBron, and Giannis. That's ridiculous. That's not happening. I think the Wolves is something interesting, but they're not beating the Thunder. They're I think the combination of Giannis and Ant-Man, and if they're able to keep Gobert, that would be one of the best defenses in the NBA, but they're not beating the Thunder. The only team that Giannis can go to that I know that team that could probably beat the Thunder is him going with Wemby to the Spurs and De'Aaron Fox.
The Wolves.
I saw somebody in the chat said the Wolves.
Who the hell are the Wolves giving? Julius Randle?
Julius Randle, McDaniels, they would have to give up their whole. It would have to be basically the Laker package where they're giving up half the roster.
The Bucks should be regulated if the best player they get in a Giannis trade is Julius Randle. I'm sorry, get him Nas Reed. These are role players, folks. We're talking about a top 3 player out here. We're talking about one of the greatest player of all time. Giving up Julius Randle. You're not getting back Julius Randle and Nas Reed.
And 2 Leaks is absolutely right. This would be all top 4 players in the NBA in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
If that happens.
Randle, Daniel, and Dante.
I'm not accepting that trade.
If that's the best Milwaukee gets, fire the entire staff. Everyone's got to go. That's Nico Harrison levels of god awful. If that's the best player you're getting, you got to get a young player, or you got to get guaranteed like good picks. And there is no guarantee on good picks, but you got to get picks down the line, because picks this year aren't going to help. You know, the team that acquires Giannis this year, they're going to be good. That's not going to be a good pick. So you got to get picks from another team. Like, you got to get the New Orleans pick, because I know people have talked about that. You got to get like those pick, the Clippers pick. Like, you got to get those picks that you know are not going to be good this year. Otherwise, you got to get it down the line. But on top of that, you got to get a young player out there. Like, you can't just get a draft pick. You got to get a top tier young player. And yeah, like the Spurs can make a very compelling offer, because they can give up Dylan Harper or Stephon Castle. You'd have to give up one of those two, maybe both, but at least one of those two. Plus, you'd have to put in like Harrison Barnes to make the money work, but whatever. Like, you still do that 10 out of 10 times, plus a bunch of draft picks. The Spurs can make the best offer. The Spurs are definitely the team, as a Thunder fan, that I'm like, that's a tough one. That's one that definitely scares me a little bit. Now, there is injury issues with Giannis and Wemby, to where if they don't have one of those guys, I'm a little less concerned about them. Although they're still playing great basketball without Wemby right now. But still, you put those
so
two.
Deep.
Yeah. Well, they're going to lose depth if they get Giannis.
Yeah,
You're going to have to give up.
You're gonna lose Keldon Johnson and Vassell, and Jose's right. You're gonna have to give up either Castle or Harper and a whole bunch of picks. But I think
you got to give up Harrison Barnes as well. And I know people, because money, like that money is involved here. You can't just be like, you got to make the money work at some point. And those guys that you just mentioned, they're all on still like young.
Keldon Johnson is making a good deal. He has a good deal.
They're not making all that.
No, he's not. He's not. Yeah, he's not making Harrison Barnes is a ridiculously overpaid person. Yes.
Which, they had the money to spend, so I don't even begrudge them for overpaying that much for Harrison Barnes. You want to add a veteran, you need to do it. But Keldon Johnson's deal is like fine. Vassell actually has kind of one of the bigger deals, but Harrison Barnes is a free agent off of the season as well. So I'm actually looking to see. So if you just go Vassell, Johnson, and we'll go Stephon Castle. I think they like Dylan Harper a little bit better than Castle, even though Castle's the rookie of the year. Harper's been playing really well for a rookie, and he's 2 years younger on top of that. So if you just do that, I mean, it works. Vassell, Johnson, and Castle,
and how
without
many
the draft picks.
How many? Does it show you how many picks they got?
Oh yeah, I can look at that. I was just looking for money. How
this is one where 5 draft picks would be appropriate.
Oh yeah, you got to do at least 5.
If Rudy Gobert can get 4 draft picks, Giannis should get 8.
Yeah. Spurs got a lot of picks. They got a pick swap with potential with Atlanta.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Atlanta's playing much better.
I don't see trade. Oh, this is for this year?
Yeah, it's for this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's for this year. So they got a pick swap with Atlanta for this year. They have Atlanta's next year pick, no protections on that. They have a swap with Boston in 2028. They have the Clippers pick, second round pick, in 2029. They have their own 2029. They got plenty of picks. They got swaps in 2030. They aren't lacking for draft picks, but you got to get it far out, because these next couple of years with Giannis and Wemby, they have Wemby. Like, they ain't going anywhere off of this. Now, things can change in 5 to 6 years, but that's why, again, you want to get something that's 5 or 6 years away, because over the next 3 to 4, they got Wemby. They're going to be competitive in the West. So you got to get other teams' picks, or you got to get picks that are 6 years down the line, because picks nowadays ain't gonna help you with that. The Spurs are definitely the team that I'm like, ooh, that's one that
That's the only one
concerns
that
me as a
will
Thunder fan.
stop this Thunder dynasty. Like this Giannis trade could be the thing that helps this this organization not be taken over by Oklahoma City. So hopefully they can do that. Hopefully, but I don't. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. They're the team that concerns me the most. I hope he stays East for two reasons. One, I don't want him in the West. There's already enough talent in the West. We don't need more top-tier talent in the West. Two, we do need some talent in the East. Like, we got to have some team in the East.
This is true.
A little bit. I'm the East, I'm doing whatever I can to get him. Because if I'm the East and I'm looking at things, it's wide open this year. There ain't no team in the East that scares me. Like, Detroit just lost to the Bucks without Giannis. That's not a scary team. I know they're playing well, but that's not a scary team. The
Cleveland
Knicks
was considered a favorite, and they're like they're a fifth seed. The Knicks are one of the more inconsistent teams because they are like fantastic on offense, but they can't guard me and Jeremy and Joel if we got on the NBA court. It's kind of, this is why I was going to say that the next thing we need to do to close off this basketball talk is I want to know your top 10 best players in the NBA right now. Not like based on history, but like right now for what they're doing this season.
Okay. Well, one more thing on Giannis and the East. Again, if I'm a team in the East, no team is scaring me right now. The Raptors are the 2 seed. The Raptors really scared. Like, they're playing well. Look, no knock on the Raptors. They're playing very well. But if I get Giannis, I put myself at the top of the top tier, no matter what. I know I got to give up something, but I put myself at the very top of the Eastern Conference.
Heat and Raptors, who are playing really well, they kind of have better trade packages than like the Knicks or like any of the popular teams that people are mentioning outside of the Spurs.
Yeah, they've some young players that they can put in there, and they got draft picks that they can put in there. My final point on here, again, if I'm an Eastern Conference team, Giannis puts me at the top of the list. All I got to do is win the East. I win the East, I get to the finals. We saw it last year. The Pacers got to the finals. They took the Thunder 2-7. I get to the finals. I get the Thunder, who are going to have to go through hell in the Western Conference. It's going to be a difficult Western Conference for OKC, no matter what. They can win 80 games. They're going to lose 2 to 3 games, 4 games in the playoffs, cumulative, before they get to the finals. They just are. So I get the Thunder, who could be a little banged up and everything, or if some team actually upsets the Thunder, I get them. I feel pretty good about that too. So yeah, if I'm an Eastern Conference team, I'm looking at this year of like, this could be the year. All I got to do is get to the finals, and then who knows what happens in the finals. Injuries happen all the time. You just got to get to the finals. So that's why if I'm an Eastern Conference team, I'm like, yeah, what do I got to do? What do I got to do to get this guy? Top 3 player. What do I have to do to get this guy? All right, what are we doing? Top 10 players for current day?
Right now.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, SGA, number 2 on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Anyway,
the reigning MVP.
Coming in at number 10 for me, I got Cade Cunningham. I think Cade is he's not like an MVP candidate, but I think like defensively, he's great. I think offensively, he needs to get better. That's why I have him so low. I would have him higher if he didn't have these kind of like slow periods, or when he's not hitting his shot and he's not able to get to the rim. But what he's done for the Pistons, it has to be recognized, and that's why I have him in the top 10. The whole reason I wanted to do the top 10. Number 9, Austin Reeves, baby. Yes, White Mamba, Hillbilly Kobe. Number 9, one of the best turnarounds that we've seen this season. He's averaging 28 points, 8 assists, five rebounds a game. He's shooting efficiently. He's gotten his 3-point shot better. He's shooting 36% from 3. He has really stepped up into his own and became a official all-star. I'm voting for him. He's on my ballot. He should be an all-star this season. Austin Reeves, number 9. Number 8, Tyrese Maxey. I think Maxey has been killing it this season. Like, he's really come into his own of going from all-star to superstar this season and really taking the Sixers under his wing. Oh, excuse me. I was supposed to hit the Chrome thing and I pressed the mic instead. Coming in at number 7, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell, man, I did not know he was balling out the way that he was. He's averaging 35 and 5. Like, this is a guy that I knew had that potential to do it, but I hadn't seen it for a large percentage of his whole, season like he's done so far this season. So I got to hand it to Donovan Mitchell. He's top 5 in scoring. He's leading the Cleveland Cavaliers. If the Cavaliers were playing better, he would be higher probably on this list here. Number 6, I think number 5 and 6, you can flip it around and it will change probably before, like, if we do this again before like All-Star break or whatever, I'll probably change it up. But number 6 for me right now would be Wemby, Victor Wembanyama. The way he was playing at the beginning of the season, he was top 5 with a bullet. But he's kind of slowed down a little bit. Injuries has kind of taken his toll. His shot hasn't been going down a bit. He's hurt. So, yeah, I'll give him number 6 here. Number 5, though, Anthony Edwards. Man, Ant-Man, he's been playing masterful this season, offensively, defensively. I think that not enough people talk about how gritty and how aggressive he is on defense. I think that's a part of his game that isn't talked about or praised enough. And the top 4, I will say 4 to 5. I don't think I've ever seen that type of gap between the top 4 and everybody else in this league. This top 4 it's everybody should have the same top 4. It just depends on what you have as far as like ranking, who you have above who. For now, though, I will pit at number 4, Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is having a ridiculous all meters on 100 type of season with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's averaging 35, 9, and 9. He is shooting the ball lights out within the 2-point range. He's shooting 60% on 2-pointers. He's only missed 4 shots at the rim this season. That's ridiculous. Luka Doncic has played amazing offensively, and he's gotten better on defense, averaging almost 2 steals per game. Number 3, though, I always will say a guy that can be elite on offense and defense will be higher for me on these type of lists. So I have Giannis at number 3, just above Luka, because Giannis, to me, he has been the most valuable player to his team. I think if we've established that talking about him, if he's off this team is a poverty-stricken franchise. And he is the only thing that gives them $1 a percentage in their bank account. It's ridiculous. Number 2, Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic is number 2 because the whole reason that I made the segue from this to this is when we were talking about defense, Nikola Jokic can't guard me. He can't guard me on the court. I've watched it. I've watched a couple of Denver games. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that no one's talking about the fact that Nikola Jokic might be a one of the greatest offensive players of all time, but he does not care to play defense. He does not. He could play defense and he could be a positive defender. He is not, because he does not care, because he is having one of the greatest offensive seasons of all time. He's averaging 29 points, 12 rebounds, 11 assists. He leads his team in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. It's ridiculous. It's one of the greatest offensive seasons ever. By the end of his career, he will be freaking the greatest center of all time on this rate if he stays on this track. Number 1, though, Jeremy is actually right. That's what I wanted to get here. Jeremy is actually right. It is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because Shai is a good defender. I wouldn't say great defender, but he is a good defender, and he's a lot better than Jokic. And offensively, He has been a ridiculous engine. He has been the closest example to my favorite player of all time, Kobe Bean Bryant. He has 30 points so effortlessly on an efficiency that is unlike anyone that we've seen from a consistent 30-point scorer in NBA history. And like I said, offensively, he is really like the backbone of this Thunder team. The Thunder, when he's on the court, I think their offensive rating is 126. When he's off the court, their offensive rating is 106. They're still a positive team with him off the court still because their defense is ridiculous, and he is also a part of that as well. Shea is the number one best player in the NBA right now.
I can't argue with the list. I was trying to think who else could be up there.
There's an argument for any of the top four. It just depends on what you really value.
Yeah. I was going top 10 for like overall, because argue any of those four as the top four. Like you said, like they've completely separated themselves from the rest of the pack. I think Jaylen Brown has been fantastic.
Oh, he's number
year.
11. He's
Okay.
number 11 for me. He's number 11. And this is me saying who's the best players in the league. It's not MVP. Because if it was for most valuable player, Jaylen Brown would probably be in the top 10. But this is for who I think is the best players. And I think Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson. I think I got up to like 15 on my list that I have on my computer, and I did write those names down.
Yeah, I think Jaylen Brown is kind of been underrated as far as how good he's actually been this year. That would be the only kind of omission, and I don't even think it's truly an omission, because you know, I say it all the time, like, all right, if you're going to give me 11 players in a top 10, then who are you taking out? And I don't feel super comfortable taking. I maybe take out. I think you got Donovan Mitchell maybe a little bit higher than I would. Like, great season so far, yes. Cavs aren't quite as good, and he's just doing a lot of scoring. Like, he's great at scoring the basketball. I think Brown's playing better defensively. I think Brown is impacting winning a little bit more as well. Mitchell was the only person that I was like, I mean, he's having a great season. Don't get me wrong. I'm like, dude's averaging 30 points per game. Like, he's
35 and 5, man. And this Cavs team would be much worse without him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would even be a good offensive team without him.
Yeah, without Garland, they've struggled a lot this year. But that was the only person that I was like, and I'm probably putting maybe a little too much into like their overall record, because they're just not as good as I think everyone thought they were going to be, and so I'm probably knocking Mitchell a little bit more for that. So that's the only person that I'm like, has he been a top 10 guy this year? But I also see the argument for. I'd probably have Cade a little bit high. Like, I'd have Cade over Mitchell, honestly. Like, Cade, that Pistons team, we thought they'd be good, but he's like really carried that team.
He hasn't shot the ball well the last couple of the last couple of weeks, actually.
I mean, okay, he overall, like, he's still having.
Oh, he's still great.
Season.
He's top 10. Yeah, top 10 player.
Yeah, I would still put him higher than Mitchell. Like, he still gets you nearly 10 assists a game as well. So yeah, I'd have him higher than Mitchell. I think Cade's having a fantastic season. They've been hurt a little bit because they've lost 3 out of the last 5 when they were on like a 10-game winning streak. So that doesn't look great. But all those games were competitive. They should have won last night. They should have beat a Bucks team that didn't have Giannis, and he wasn't great last night. So that goes against him. But I think he's having a better season than Mitchell. Otherwise, I'm with you on your list. I understand where you're coming from with that. Yeah, Jaylen Brown's fake hair has been very much a talking point. Jalen Johnson's had a great year too, especially with Trey being out. Like, he's really taking a leap. And Nickel Walker-Alexander, Shea's cousin, if you haven't heard, he's been great this year. So there's been a lot of great players. Josh Giddey was a top 5 player for a week. Bulls fans made sure to tell me that. You know, They made sure to tell me that Josh Giddey
All
was a
of
top
1
5
week.
player for 1 week. Yeah.
All of 1
We're an hour and a
week.
half into this show, and we haven't talked any wrestling. It's been great.
Nope.
Doug is so mad at us right now.
This is your goal for every episode of In the Weeds.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. AEW Dynamite last night. It opened with Eddie Kingston and Samoa Joe in their big face-to-face. And Samoa Joe was like, I don't wear a suit because all you animals here don't deserve. This ain't a zoo. I ain't coming here wearing a suit. The Penguins might appreciate it, but you people here in Fishers, Indiana, don't have any class. And then he said, Eddie, you got effectively used by Hook because we're breeding Hook to be a champion like me, like his father, and we wanted to show him the other side of things. And that is you, a giant old loser who can't cross the finish line, who can't win the big one. And when we meet next week, you will be choked unconscious and you will lose like you always do. And Eddie said that he used to look up to Joe and hold him in such regard because he had the battles with Homicide and he had the greatest title run in ROH history. And now he has become what he has hated, and he's sold out, and he doesn't respect this person, and he's using Hook. And if the Samoa Joe, who was the best ROH champion of all time, doesn't show up next week, he will eat him alive. What did you think of this, SP3?
What did you think?
I thought it was good, not great.
Damn, you took my bit. That's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. I was like, that was good. I probably would have wanted something a little bit more. And
go ahead.
I also feel like Eddie kind of took some people out of it with this whole line of, oh, I know you guys don't want to see, you guys want to see wrestling. I'm going to go home and go to sleep. It's like, dude, that was your whole bit when you weren't involved in the title program. You need to worry about showing the passion and showing you care about this matchup next week. Make it feel like it's the most important thing to do, the only thing that you're thinking about, not that you're thinking about going home to go to sleep. That all I can say like, yeah, that was a wrong choice. But I thought that the just and the overall story was good of Joe kind of becoming kind of what he's always hated, what he always used to say about the old timers. It made me remember the whole Samoa Joe promo, his worst promo of his career from back in TNA after Scott Hall walked out, when he cut the whole promo on Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Like, yeah, Joe is. We actually have visual evidence that this is what Samoa Joe always used to say about the old timers, and now he's become what he's hated. So I like the fact that Eddie got the last word. He was able to basically put Joe in his place and kind of leave Joe speechless with everything that he had to say and telling him to go to that dark side. But I also would have loved for Eddie to talk about what he's willing to do to get the win, why he wants this win, why this win is the most important thing to his life, why this win will be the validation that he needs for his whole recovery and coming back. Some of that passion that was in that Collision promo, despite that Collision promo being a little bit rambly, that was more of a sign of life that Eddie Kingston was back. That was a sign of life. I won't say that he's back officially yet. I when I sent the promo to Jimmy Macaram, who doesn't watch Collision, so he wasn't going to be able to see that. I sent him this and I was like, a sign of life from Eddie. And he was like, a little rambly, but that was good. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So he enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that way more than I did last night to me.
I liked Eddie's fire in this. Yes, the part of like, you guys want to see wrestling, I'm going to go home and sleep. I was like, all right. I mean, it is AEW. You do come for the wrestling, but saying you're leaving the show to go home and sleep, like, do you not care about the wrestling on this show, Eddie? Like, you can say, like, you guys want to see wrestling I want to see wrestling. I'm going to enjoy all the great wrestling tonight. But saying like I'm going to go home and sleep through all this wrestling like doesn't exactly sell me on the wrestling that's coming up when your number one contender is like, yeah, who cares about this wrestling? So I mean, fair, but I like this fire. Like the overall material, I like the beginning of Eddie's promo with talking about Joe's title run and like you said, like you've become what you hate and the stuff about homicide. The whole I need that guy to show up or I'm gonna like how many times do we hear that stuff? And that's Okada's entire run as the Continental Champion. Every single Okada match
every promo against Okada is that.
Yeah. Like I don't need that of like, oh, I want the old guy to show up here because I don't think that like truly accomplishes anything. Like you're basically telling me that this guy's like mailing things in right now and you want the guy who didn't mail things in. You want the hungry guy. He's the champion. He should remain hungry. So I didn't love that portion of it. I didn't really, outside of the beginning part with Joe of like suit, like the Penguins will enjoy it, but I ain't here for you animals. Like I didn't really love the rest of his promo of like, you can't win the big, I was like, Punk said this. Danielson said this. This is what everybody uses against Eddie. And it's less true nowadays because he won the first Continental Classic and he was a Triple Crown champion. So you're kind of devaluing your own tournament of like, yeah, you can't cross the finish line. It's like, wait a second. He won. Yeah, he did. He was Triple Crown champion. He won the Continental Classic. Like, yeah, he's lost title match. He's never been a world champion, but the majority of wrestlers lose the majority of their big matches. You think of all the people who've gotten title shots and yeah, sure, they may have won the title, but they've also lost a title. So unless you're Roman Reigns where you've defended it for 1,300 days and you've won all of your title matches, like you lose the majority of your big matches. And even Roman, recently, he lost his last 2 WrestleMania matches. He lost his last singles match. He just lost at Survivor Series. He's effectively been a loser this year. No one's going to say Roman Reigns can't cross the finish line, though, just because he struggled in his last few matches. Like, no one's going to say that. So I thought the material for both guys wasn't the best.
Honestly,
I wanted more back and forth because it was just Joe, Eddie, done. I wanted like real vitriol between them.
I'll be honest, I kind of enjoyed the fact that it was short, sweet, to the point. So I wouldn't say that that's part of my critique of this. Honestly, the biggest thing that I can say, kind of hearing your critique of it, is that the promos should have been switched around, kind of. Like, Joe should have been the one that said, I want the old Eddie Kingston back. You're not the same Eddie Kingston you were before the injury. That's why I had Hook basically get what's ever left of you. Learn the other side of the people who can't be world champion. Say that. Don't say Eddie can't win the big one because, like you said, I really thought that the promo that Joe cut, Eddie's response would have been like, this is my time of the year. 2 years ago, I won the Continental Classic. I became a Triple Crown champion. I can get over that finish line. That he should have definitely said that. He should have definitely kind of reaffirmed of what we already know. This promo felt like it was kind of like disrespecting. It was more for casual fans than longtime AEW fans, more than anything. It felt like this is your introduction of the Eddie Kingston character, and this is everything that we heard 4 years ago.
I would have. That's a good point on. Like, yeah, this is my time of the year. Continental Classic. Like 2 years ago, I won this shit. Like I beat Danielson. I beat Moxley this time 2 years ago. Last year, I didn't get that opportunity. I was on the shelf, and that ate me alive. Watching people like you doing stuff with the ops. Well, Joe was actually kind of out at the end of last year because Chris Jericho ran him through a wall and everything.
Also true.
But, why he could mention the Moxley stuff, like watching a guy like John Moxley telling people to step up and like, where were you to step up there? You did get put through a wall by Chris Jericho. I don't think they want to mention that, but like where were you during that? And then you did help, but where were you at the end of all? And you got taken out again, dude. But it pained me to watch last year not being able to compete and watching my friend, because they're still friends, John Moxley, acting like he's running around and running this show and begging people to step up, and nobody is actually doing. Nobody but Ospreay needs to step up. Swerve needs to step up, and finally they did. Like, yeah, that would have been much better than the old, like, I want the old Samoa Joe. Like, okay, he's the world champion. I don't like the.
This felt like a promo. This felt like a promo more catered to Joe's character and Joe's character arc than elevating and making Eddie Kingston feel like he's on Eddie Joe's level, which I think most of us expected this promo to do.
I don't like the I want the old person to show up. I want the old Okada. I want the old Joe. They are the champions.
Yeah.
So you're telling me
that's what I said. It would have been more appropriate for Joe to say, "I want the old Eddie Kingston back.
Yeah.
Like, I want that gritty Eddie Kingston who was down and dirty that I saw, get kicked out of every promotion that he's been in." And then when Eddie says, "Oh, the reason why y'all always used to say I'm loud is because I get shit done." That line would have hit more if Joe says what we just said.
I do love that, like, I want the old person. Like, they're the champion. So they're half-assing it and they're still the champion? Shit.
Damn, they must be really
sucks.
good.
Everyone else sucks then. Y'all can't beat these half-assing champions. Get out of here with that. Yeah, I thought it was good, not great. My expectations were probably too high. I always tell people on this show, don't expect too much and then you won't get disappointed. But I saw Samoa Joe, Eddie Kingston face-to-face. I'm like, all right, well, we got to expect a lot on this. And I walked away with it and I was like, all right.
It's also because you mentioned that Joe said a lot of things that Bryan Danielson and CM Punk did. Every one of those Bryan Danielson CM Punk exchanges with Eddie Kingston are the stuff of legend, the stuff that we're still talking about to this day. So, like, yeah, this being good, it's a disappointment because we expect great from these type of segments.
Yeah. Look, the Punk and Eddie feud is an all-time AEW feud.
And it's just two segments in a match.
Yeah. It didn't overstay its welcome. It didn't drag on. The one match they had was excellent. I mean, it's one of my favorite matches.
I rewatched it because I if you check out True Hill Heat YouTube channel, I did the top 10 greatest AEW Full Gear matches, and that was part of the list. So I had to rewatch a lot of those matches back. Oh, it's so good. It still lives up. Still lives up 4 years later.
Yeah, and it's less than my my usual block. I love the 12 to 18, and it falls short of that, which makes it even better. Oh yeah, that was a great match. And yeah, the promos were fantastic leading up to it. Punk was really something in AEW. It's a shame he's just happy to be alive in whatever city they're in.
It's a shame that Tony Khan rushed it and tried to put him AEW World Champion less than a year into his run. Like, tell more stories. Have Cody go against his stipulation. It should have been Cody beats Hangman at Double or Nothing 2022. We should do a what if series if we go through the last 3 years of AEW if Cody stays with AEW and he's the one that beats Hangman.
In the Continental Classic, we had, I'm going to just kind of give quick results and then we will talk about the matches a little bit more. But we had Okada defeating Pac. So Okada goes to 1-1. Pac goes to 1-1. Okada reversed the Brutalizer and turned that into, shifted the weight and turned it into a pin on there. And then we had Fletcher and Kevin Knight. Fletcher goes to 2-0. Kevin Knight goes to 1-1. He beat him with the Brain Buster. That was a really great closing sequence. Again, I know we'll talk about this more, but that closing sequence, the whole match was fantastic, but the closing sequence was really, really good stuff. And in the main event, we had Moxley losing to Claudio. So Moxley's at 1-1. Claudio is at 2-0, and Claudio won with basically a running uppercut, which I really like this finish as well. So yes, SP3, break down these matches and the results.
I absolutely loved last week with the Continental Classic with Dynamite. I said last week on Thanksgiving that the Dorada, Mox, and Knight, and Darby, and Fletcher, and Okada, 3 bangers that we got on the first night. Then we got 2 other bangers on Collision on Thanksgiving Day with Pac and Speedball and Takeshita and Roddy. We might have got the best 2 matches of the tournament, though, on this goddamn show. Because the main event and Fletcher and Knight, are so great for totally different reasons. Oh my god. And even Pac and Okada was great. Oh, Pac and Okada was great, but it's just like it's a lesser great than the other two matches. But I thought that was like a very smartly done matchup where it really put a spotlight on Pac's the difference in Pac's style ever since he's come back with the Death Riders, where he's more methodical. He's more like these high impact moves kind of come in these bursts instead of like one after the other, like they kind of used to do when he first came to AEW. And he's more picking his spots, and he's morally setting up for his running clothesline. That's his big finish, the running lariat. And I love how they kept teasing that throughout the matchup. They did it early on, and Okada just he pops me every time he does something, just being a dick or just a lazy motherfucker, where he just rolls out the ring and he's like, "Oh, you chopped me too hard. I'm gonna stay out here for a while." And then he goats back to come to the ropes and then trips him, and then he's smiling and everything. Okada's just great. He's such a great heel. Like if you do any awards this year and it's for the top heels of the year, you need to put Okada in the conversation because he's so good with the simple things that he does. But the feet work, the exchanges in the matchup, and the reversal, and the story that they told where Pac finally does hit the running lariat at the end, and he goes for the brutalizer, the same combination that he beat Speedball with last week on Collision. I like how they played off of the finishes to their last matches in the C2, where Okada went for the Rainmaker and Pac reversed it the same way Fletcher did, and he was able to get a near fall on that. And then Pac tried to finish Okada the same way that he finished Speedball with the running lariat and then the brutalizer, but Okada was ready. He reverses it, gets the pin. That's just smart. That's just very smart, the way they laid that out and the way they did that. And then Fletcher and Kevin Knight. Oh my God. That's my favorite matchup of the tournament so far, because that match right there, I was like, this should be your main event in a year. Like, this should be an AEW World Championship matchup. You should not waste any time. You know, in WWE, they wait till these guys turn 30. These two guys, you got one guy who's 26 going on 27. You got another guy who's 28 going on 29. It's push them now, because the way they went out there and just went full speed ahead, and so many great moments in this matchup that people need to remember. The drop kick by Kevin Knight. Oh my God.
I was gonna say,
murdered him.
Yeah.
The way that Fletcher sold it. Fletcher's like I was like, what the
I was gonna say, like, I know Okada gets a lot of praise for his dropkick. I'm like, he didn't have the best dropkick on this show. That Kevin Knight dropkick was way better.
That Kevin Knight dropkick looked like it was death. Like he hit it and then he was like, he went stiff. Oh my God. It was a very great stuff from both guys on that dropkick. Kevin Knight with the execution of the dropkick, but it's not going to be as memorable without that sell from Fletcher. So that was amazing. The way he's able to do different versions of the springboard clothesline. That was the theme in last week's matchup with Darby, and then this week he's doing it again off the apron. He does one in the ring. He does one to the outside where he looked like he soared. And I got to give credit to the production team for AEW on the one in the ring, where I think they did it by accident, because on the replay they showed us the real version where you could see him actually doing the springboard. But on the actual, when it actually happens, the camera is focused on Fletcher. So it looks like Knight just came out the sky. So I started dying laughing. I had to rewind it back on HBO Max because I was dying so much from how it looked, how it was shot, where he just comes out the sky and hits Fletcher with that. So good. And then the finishing sequence, how it looks like it looks like Jet's gonna get the win with the coast to coast drop kick, which is ridiculous. It looked like he killed both guys last night, just not Darby, which Darby's in the hospital because of the first coast to coast drop kick that he did. So he hits that. That looks like it's gonna be the finish. He goes up top for the UFO. He hits it, but Fletcher gets the knees up. You think that's the finish when he gets him for the roll up, but he kicks out. Then Knight's able to get a close near fall when he reverses the brainbuster into a small package. I bought all the near falls in the final stretch of this matchup because they gave Knight that win last week against Darby. It wasn't impossible to think that he was going to get the win here against Kyle Fletcher. So great use of near falls down the stretch where you were on the edge of your seat. And then when Kyle Fletcher finally hits the brainbuster, it's like, Oh my God, I need a cigarette after that. That was amazing. Fantastic match. My match of the tournament so far. But the match that probably made that a little bit hard to say was Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, because they gave you such a different type of matchup where you had the Knight and Fletcher match is this high work weight, these big moves, these big moments that you remember from the matchup, where Claudio and Jon Moxley is a more methodical and more escalated pace where they slow it down early on. They're mixing it up. They're wrestling. Then Moxley gets more aggressive and gets more violent. He starts pulling at the ear and starts poking him in the eye. He's bringing up the aggression. I like the storytelling beats that they did, like Moxley having Marina Shafira at ringside and her having to be removed. Most of all, the MVP of this matchup, if it's not the two guys in the ring, it was Bryan Danielson on commentary. Bryan Danielson on commentary, he has the line of the night where at the end of the matchup, when Claudio wins, he's like, the whole time I was in the Blackpool Combat Club, I could never beat Jon Moxley. That was the whole reason why we viewed him as the leader. Claudio Castagnoli just defeated Jon Moxley. He didn't even need to say anything after that. He just said, he told the story clear as day that we don't know now who the real leader of the Death Riders is, because Claudio just did the mere impossible. Willie Yuta couldn't do it. Bryan Danielson couldn't do it. The whole time Jon Moxley has been in AEW, any stable he's been a part of, no one in the stable has been able to beat him. That's why he's always been the leader of the BCC and the Death Riders. And now that's in question. He did a splendid job. Bryan Danielson popping for Knight and Fletcher was great. Him telling kind of the intricacies of Pac and Okada was great. But him having that kind of that personal connection to the whole BCC and Claudio and Moxley's journeys in AEW made that match so well done. They need to improve on a few things. If you're going to do time calls, you don't do it for just one match. You do it for all the matches, because every match on this show that was a part of the C2 went over 10 minutes. We literally never heard a 10-minute call except for Claudio and Moxley, which I understand. They're trying to, with the Fletcher and Okada match last week and this match this week, they're trying to put the illusion that you're expecting a time limit draw, and then when it doesn't happen, when the finish happens, you're surprised about it, which is cool. And it worked. It worked last night. It worked last week, but it's going to have a law of diminishing returns if you just don't do the clear as day, all C2 matches. You do a 10-minute time call, you do the 15-minute time call, you do a 1-minute time call. Just call it a day. Just do it for the C2 matches. And I think that you will have that kind of energy or that kind of feeling that you want for these particular matches. You can get it for all the matches. But I like the kind of the gritty, violent feel of Moxley and Claudio. And I was able to watch that on the fight feed. So I did see, it's basically Claudio clotheslines Moxley into the crowd. And then Moxley just comes up and he's bleeding. Because I know for people that's watching it on TNT or TBS, you're just confused because you went to break and he was just outside. He was totally fine. And then he's just leaking blood when we come back from break. But that's how it happened. He clotheslines him into the crowd. And I guess on the fall, or he just decided, hey, I need to get some color in this matchup, and just gets to scratch it, gets to cut in, and that's how he starts bleeding. But that added to the story of the matchup. It gave Moxley, kind of made him the babyface of the matchup, where he had this really desperation comeback at the end before Claudio put it away with that running European uppercut. But it was such an MMA finish. You could tell that this was Jon Moxley's idea, where the run at each other, big knockout blow, 1, 2, 3, that's it. That is definitely Moxley's idea, and it was an excellent finish to the matchup.
This might not surprise too many people, I liked Moxley and Claudio more than I liked Kevin Knight and Kyle Fletcher. Not take anything away from that match. Moxley and Claudio is just more my style, more my pace compared to Knight and Fletcher. And the finish, like, completely, like the closing sequence on Knight and Fletcher was, fast paced, and there was a lot of near falls that you could bite on, and like I love that closing sequence. The finish to Moxley and Claudio was just so out of nowhere, because they just did like the 5-minute call, like right as the uppercut was hitting. So you're like, okay, well, this is going at least like another four minutes, because like you said, they'd been doing the call, so they're trying to give the impression that this is going to go pretty close to 20, and so they do the uppercut, and then that was the pin. I was like, oh, like you're good call on, like, yeah, very MMA, very Jon Moxley was probably like, yeah, just hit me with that one shot. Like, no one's going to really see that come. Why do we need to do this, like, back and forth struggle? Why do we need to do a bunch of near falls, get people, like, no, just sometimes a knockout blow happens when you're not expecting it. And yeah, Moxley's done that a few times throughout his career, so not surprising if he was the one that came up with that one. But I absolutely love the Moxley and Claudio match. It was right up my alley. Perfect blend of story and just hard-hitting action. And Danielson, I mean, he's so good on the commentary throughout, but especially when it's guys he has like a ton of history with, and of course he has a ton of history with both of these guys. So he adds so
guys
much
he
more
has
to
history
it.
with, or guys he's a fan of.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones he's able to call really well.
Yeah. But at the end of the show, after like Moxley's like sitting in the corner and the loss, and I can't fully erase like his first 3 to 4 months, but I'm like, has there been anybody better than Jon Moxley since basically Revolution? Because I don't know if there has been.
Dude, the only people that I will reasonably on anything I do, I'm doing votes for. I'll probably put my votes in for the Fightful Awards. I'm gonna put my votes in for Wrestle Talk, and True Hill Heat's doing their awards. There's only 2 people who can say that they have checked the box across the board for male wrestler of the year when it comes to in-ring, when it comes to storytelling, character work, promos, being a draw, being a heavily pushed star for their promotion. It's Hangman Page, it's Mystico. No one else should be ahead of Jon Moxley. And I think Jon Moxley probably is the most balanced out of those guys, because Hangman is definitely not checking the box when it comes to being a draw. Mystico is, but Mystico doesn't quite have as many great matches as Hangman and Moxley. And I think Hangman and Moxley had the match of the year. But the downfall of Jon Moxley is the second best storyline to me of the year, behind Hangman's redemption. Like, the downfall of Jon Moxley, that's been the driving force of the best story that AEW has told since All In. While the rest of the company has kind of petered out or slowed down a bit, or like taken off the steam that they had heading into All In and coming out of All In, this story has only gotten better with time.
If you want to check a box and you want to get the gift of the year, SP3, you need to head over to auraframes.com and use that code FIGHTFUL. It is the Christmas season. There's a lot of gifts in a box. It's a gift in a box. And you can get a personalized premium gift box at auraframes.com. You can personalize the gift on the Aura Frames. You get the gift box for no extra price on that either. And you can personalize it with a message. Put something on there for whoever you're getting the gift to. It could be to Jon Moxley. You can put Jon Moxley, Wrestler of the Year, on your Aura frame. And they can just be nothing but photos of Jon Moxley. Might be a weird gift to somebody, but a top-tier wrestling fan, an AEW sicko, might really enjoy just looking at photos of Jon Moxley, probably bleeding in most of them. And you can continue to add photos of a bleeding Jon Moxley to your Aura frame. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com. Get $35 off Aura's best-selling carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter. Use the promo code FIGHTFUL at checkout. Aura Frames, AURA frames.com. Promo code FIGHTFUL. It's an exclusive deal for our faithful In the Weeds listeners on the frames. They sell out fast. Order today. Get it in time for the holidays. Mention that you heard it here on In the Weeds on Fightful. Terms and conditions do apply. But yes, if you want to check all the boxes for whoever you're getting a gift for Christmas, if you want to be the Christmas gift giver of the year, like Jon Moxley might be the wrestler of the year, head over to auraframes.com. Use the code FIGHTFUL.
Can't be the gift giver of the year, because right. Luther is.
Yeah, Luther's a top tier gift giver. I popped so much from my guy coming back. We had the Big Bitches Brawl. I refuse to call it what they're calling it. It'll always be
the Big Bitches Brawl.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling it.
Did Tony say that?
No, I made that up. Way better than what
Tony
they
and
went
me
with.
are not big bitches.
Yeah, but Tony Storm calls Megan Bain a big
Big bitch.
bitch.
Yeah.
So that's why I
It's a
call it
big
just
bitch
overall.
brawling. It's a big
they're
bitch
just
brawling.
Big bitches brawl.
Okay. All right.
That's what I'm going with. I bet Tony Storm would approve my name
Triple B.
for it. Yeah, exactly.
There's another Triple B in AEW. It's more than one Triple B.
Wrestling has more than one Triple B. It was a hardcore holiday big bitches brawl is what it was called. As you would expect. A lot of weapons in this thing. We had a champagne bottle being used. We had gift wrap tables out there. We had gift wrap chairs as well. We had some thumbtacks out there as well.
Singapore cane as a candy cane.
Yes, candy cane. Yep. And of course, we had the biggest gift of them all, Luther returning with the shoe, and Tony Storm hit Marina Shafir with the shoe, and then got her in the small package for the victory. So Tony Storm and Mina Shirakawa will take on Babes of Wrath, Willow Nightingale, and Harley Cameron next week on AEW Dynamite. Winter is coming.
I think the best description of this show, of this matchup, stupid fun. This was goofy. This was goofy wrestling at its finest. I can turn my brain off and not kind of pay mind to the botch jive by Mina or any clunky spots that they had. I just had fun with this. This was a good time. Tony's got the personality. She's got the character work. Marina and Megan are fun as these two kind of brutes who just throw around and beat up their opponents. I love the frying pan to the titties. I was like, titty violence. What are you doing? I was like, save the titties. Save the titties. That's the only part that I was cringing about or a little disturbed about. But other than that, fun time.
Enjoyable match. What you come to expect from these types of matches in AEW, right? Like, and they added the holiday theme because of Christmas and gift wraps and all of that fun stuff. But the return of Luther is the real talking point here. Of course, the Japanese death match legend would return in what was billed as a death match. Glad to see Luther back. And now I assume that Tony and Mina are going to win because Tony's never lost with Luther.
Vasco, did you not see Marina Shafir hitting poor defensive titties with a frying pan?
Yeah, that was, yeah.
That's it. Those titties can't protect themselves.
It got fried.
It should have been on your bingo card. You should have been saying it.
Save the titties, everybody.
Save the titties. Hashtag
always,
save the titties. We need multiple hashtag save the titties in the chat. That's my request. Thank you. Please.
Always save the titties. The Ops beat Dark Order. Who could possibly care about Dark Order?
Oh my God.
2025.
Why is Dark Order on my TV? I'm going to say it before Jimmy tells me that in an hour. Oh my God.
They do this like once every couple of months with Hangman and Dark Order, and it's like, hey, remember when you guys did a thing for a few months and you guys were best friends, and then we never mentioned it again, and it hasn't been mentioned until we need to like mention it. This is what they did. It's like, you like Dark Order, you're friends with these guys. Like, Hangman is not mentioned these guys at all.
Literally, the last time that we saw them on Dynamite was when they turned on Hangman.
But they used it to just do a match so the Ops could win. This match was too long, too.
Oh man, it went 7 minutes. It went through a commercial break. What are we doing? What are we doing? I like Dark Order. Don't get me wrong. Don't let me wrong, guys. I like Dark Order. I like them on Thursdays. I like them on Honor Club. I think that is the best role for them. I think that they haven't even hit their potential on Ring of Honor. I think they could have done, they should have done in the last 2 years a lot more with Dark Order on Ring of Honor. But like after 2.5 years, literally the last time we saw them, they turned on Hangman, and 2.5 years later, you were trying to use them to get heat with Hangman for Hangman to set up a post match where you don't even have to give me the post match. Just give me the promo by Hangman. You don't even need to do all of this. You just wasted 10 minutes when the 2 minutes at the end with the promo is the best part about all of this.
I didn't even like the post match brawl. I didn't need.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was a waste of time. All of this, the match and then the post match, was a waste of time. Just give me the promo.
Like, if Hangman's going to get beat down at the end of the post-match because he wants to save Dark Order for some reason, like, fine. But they did the whole, Hobbs actually accidentally hit Shibata, and then Hangman effectively stood tall because the security came out, and then he beat them up as well. And I liked his post-match promo, the backstage promo with everything. That was great fire. That was really good stuff. I was like, I just kind of saw you beat both of these guys up on your own. Like, cool that Swerve's going to be there, but they didn't actually get real heat on you, because beating up Dark Order and taking 7 minutes to do it ain't real heat on Hangman. It makes me want to see the ops against Hangman and Swerve. Like, I thought the ops, like, if they're trying to sell the ops as credible threats, if they're trying to sell Hobbs and Shibata as credible threats off of this, I'm like, well, I just saw Shibata lose to Eddie Kingston on Saturday. I just saw them take 7 minutes to beat Dark Order, and I saw them goof up to where Hangman got the up on them at the end of this. I don't really buy them as two dudes who are going to beat two former world champions. Sorry.
The ops, I don't see this going well. I actually watched the Hook sit-down interview with Alicia Toot. Hook's not good. Hook's not good. A good talker. He's just not. Yeah. He's just not.
At least the material was fine there. Like, all right,
the material, material.
It
actually, everything he said about the explanation made a whole bunch of sense. Like the script, the context, great stuff. His delivery is awful. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was like, this is really bad. And this used to be his thing. He used to be much better on the pre-tapes than he was like actually with a mic in his hand in the ring. But
his delivery is just so like monotone with everything. I was like, I don't feel the conviction when he talks. I don't feel like he believes what he's saying when he talks. I'm just like, all right, you're just like reading a book to me right now. You're reading the story that has been laid out to you, and it's just story time with Hook out here. Like, thank you for the recap. We could have just had a voiceover do all of this recap. I thought it was better than the backstage they did to set up this match against the Dark Order, because we didn't need that.
When Hobbs sets it up, he's like, one of the trios impressed us on ROH. I was like, oh man, I don't want to.
Fred House, let's go, baby, my guys.
I thought it made sense because the babyface. I was like, I don't really want to see Skyflight versus the Hobbs. And then he said Dark Order. I was like, oh my god, it got worse. Holy shit! What? Dark Order?
This is a lot of useless stuff here. Honestly, it's kind of useless stuff. We had
a very good episode of Dynamite, but yeah, that was the weakest part of it.
Yeah. We had Don Callis in multiple segments, as you would come to expect from Don Callis.
Freaking Tony Khan's booking crutch. I've literally said this on this show for months, and he literally showed y'all all that he is the booking crutch because he had to explain Tony Khan's awful booking, and he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it at all.
I like that his explanation was just, LOL, why am I going to put this title on the line? That sounds dumb that I would do this. That doesn't benefit me.
He's like, I was like, you know what? That actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad they actually like did an explanation instead of just like, hey, it's the Continental title after we told you for months that it was going to be all of the titles in this thing. Like, I'm glad they did the explanation, and like it makes sense from a Don Callis perspective, but at the same time, it's just like, all right. You said it was going to be for all of these titles, and now you are basically saying that unified title didn't mean as much as you wanted it to mean. It was. Well, I said this at the time. There's record of this. I said for months it was just going to be the Continental Classic. This is going to be the out for them to split the titles. And I said even before the unified title match, I was like, I don't think this is going to be like one big title. Because, and my reasoning for this was like, why would you put the Rainmaker and the One-Winged Angel on this title if this is like a unified title that is going to be defended? I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is an Omega and Okada title that they're going to battle for, they're going to forget about it afterwards.
They're going to take the One-Winged Angel off, and they're going to put the Raging Fire for next year's unified title match.
Like, they're going to just, it's not going to exist after this title. And it effectively hasn't. I know Okada's done like title defenses, but it really has not existed since then.
No, no. That makes the whole Continental. You're missing the point of what makes this even more ridiculous. Is that Okada defended the unified title multiple times. Under
Continental rules.
the way that you said it made it seem like, oh no, he's just been defending the Intercontinental, International, and Continental title. No, he's been defending the unified title, which is both titles, this whole time. And not until this time of year were we ever aware that the Continental title was going to get split from it.
Yeah, you guys should have just...
And Jules, I love you in the chat. You're one of our great people in the community. I understand where you're going for with hopefully people can stop with the nonsense. It's not nonsense. It's us calling out stupidity. This is stupid. This was a stupid decision. And Don Callis addressing it was nice. I'll give him credit for that. But he didn't answer any questions. He didn't really give us an explanation. He made it make sense for him as a character of why it is, but it doesn't make sense for why the company did this.
Yeah, where's Tony Khan to step in? This is also my I've said this before, but you have these authority figures who are established authority figures, but they only show up like when they want to write things. We know Tony Khan can make decisions. Why does Don Callis have this overarching power? It's like, oh, he doesn't have to defend. You have said that these titles are going to be on the line. You said it's going to be for the unified title. Why can Don Callis just be like, no, that's not happening? Where's Tony Khan to be like, yes, this is how it's going to happen. Both these titles are online. I don't care what Don Callis thinks out here.
I'm hoping that this continues. Like, we can get more Renee like questioning, like, why isn't the international title on the line? Why is the international title on the line? And then Takeshita can basically goat Okada into putting into. I hope that this is not them being like, okay, we answered that. That's it. That's over with. I hope this is a new story as part of this whole feud and storyline. I know I'm probably asking for too much, but I would hope.
I hope you're right. But again, I've been saying it for months. This is how they're going to split these titles and do two titles again and get back to the international title and the continental title.
Hey, I can admit when you were right. You were right.
We did have an in-ring segment with Don Callis, and he was like, come get your money, Young Bucks. And so the Young Bucks came out, but then they were jumped by the Don Callis family, including Okada, who, if it wasn't obvious before, he is part of the Don Callis family. And then Jack Perry and Luchasaurus came out for the save. Jack Perry bit the finger of Okada when he flipped him off. More Don Callis family members came in because they just never run out of Don Callis family members. And then finally, what's that?
It's like a clown car.
Yeah, exactly. And then Kenny Omega came out to make the final save, and Okada got the hell out, and Don Callis family got the hell out of there. It was fine. It happened. I feel like Kenny Omega has been feuding with the Don Callis family for about 15 years now.
Because it's been about 2 years now. It's been about 2 years of him feuding with just the Don Callis family. A little brief run where he was going against the Elite and where he was going against the Death Riders, but it's mostly been Don Callis.
And the bad part about this is like the Don Callis family stuff is just more interesting than an actual feud with Omega and the Bucks. Because I feel like I've just seen that for so long. Like, no, I want to see the stuff with Fletcher, Okada, and Takeshita. These are the three most interesting people in this whole thing. Everything they're doing, and they're all part of the Continental Classic. Like, cool. Kenny Omega and Young Bucks trio. Go after the trios titles. Those dudes are facing the Dark Order. You're telling me we can't get better people than the Dark Order? Yeah, it was a segment. I got to get more. I got to get more out of this Elite stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've been preaching to the choir that Kenny Omega not doing any singles matches. They have not booked this very well. They have not booked this well. He's not Klay Thompson.
Thompson.
Stop your nonsense.
Klay Thompson's on a good run right now. See? It can happen.
Not even gonna.
He can have a good run. Just because it's Klay Thompson doesn't, like, y'all take that as such a negative.
He's James Harden.
The Mavericks are better than the Clippers.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, but James Harden's playing great.
Okay. Klay Thompson is averaging 14, shooting 40% from 3 in his last 10. He's contributing. That's what Kenny Omega is doing. He's contributing.
Anyway, FTR had a fantastic promo last night. Oh my god. Yo, the way FTR just casually just drops the best promo on all of these shows, and it's like watching Michael Jordan drop 30 and like not even break a sweat. Like he drops the 30, he's like, I don't know. It's kind of like what FTR just did last night. This was so well done. They got it all done in like 2 minutes, where they had Stokely does his usual start of the promo where he says this is the greatest day of my life because FTR are the World Tag Team Champions. And then he brings up the whole what they're gonna address in their promo. He basically gives it like the intro, and then Cash breaks down the history that they have with Juice and Colton and Austin Gunn. He's like, Austin Gunn, who ended your World Tag Team title reign? Oh yeah, that was us. And Juice, you say it doesn't matter if it takes 1 hour to beat us. It took you 58 minutes and you couldn't get the job done. So what are you gonna do? And then Dax just drops the mic on all of them and just goes through. Yo, he's like, Juice Robinson, you've been a bad boy your entire career. I was like, I was dying at Dax's promo. Dax went in on Juice Robinson. He went in on Austin Gunn. He's like, the only reason you got a job is because you're a daddy. So I was like, oh my God. I love best heels in the game. FTR dropped a banger last night.
It was a very good promo. I pop the boys while injured.
He's like, you're trying to do it for Jay White and Colton Gunn when you're trying to pop the boys while they're injured.
That was a great line. That was good stuff. That was good. We also had a Mercedes backstage. She's going to be on ROH TV tonight, and we had a hater and why am I blanking? Statlander, thank you.
I really liked that one. I really did enjoy it. However, y'all are booking Statlander like a WWE Women's World Champion.
Yeah, that's why I was blanking, because I was like, surely it's not the Women's Champion, and it was the Women's Champion. Like, why are they facing Sisters of Sin? They just lost in this tag team title tournament. Wait, why are they here? It feels like Statlander is the Women's Champion, allegedly.
Allegedly.
And they are just like, they're booking her like she's Queen Aminata. Because this is the Queen Aminata role of Jamie Hayter's partner. This is who Jamie Hayter was partnering with.
I just don't like her just being in vignettes and 1 minute backstage segments, like back-to-back weeks. That should never happen. That should never happen. She's
She
your women's world champion. Like that's why I said they're booking her like Stephanie Vicaire, like Io Sky, like Rhea Ripley when they were WWE Women's World Champions.
she beat Toni Storm. She beat Mercedes Moné. I mean, this does speak to like they had nobody lined up for her after this, and it feels like they're just killing time right now. Of like, all right, who?
This is feeling suspiciously like the Hangman reign of this is a pivot reign. This is not the original plan.
Yeah, I feel bad for Stat. This man, I keep going back to like when she rejected the Death Riders and how big she felt during that, and how like they could not keep up that momentum. And like she's had great matches.
She should have feuded with Marina after that.
Oh, 100%.
They should have saved the Tony matchup for Full Gear. They should have never done the Mercedes match. It was too soon after the first Mercedes title opportunity. And if Mercedes doesn't lose the Ring of Honor TV title, then this is a waste because it's not the start of her downfall.
Mercedes,
she should have
Red Velvet.
I know she is. Like the second loss for the AEW Women's World Championship, you should have saved that until when you want to start her downfall. And it's obviously not now to me. So it shouldn't have been at Full Gear. It should have been Tony and Chris at Full Gear. And maybe we just get another tag team to replace Timeless Love Bombs in the tag team title feud or tag team title tournament.
Yeah, they should have done like you said, Marina and Chris. I advocated for them to doing Chris and Yuta. Like, who cares? Go for it. Put that on Dynamite. But man, it feels like they just missed a big opportunity with Stat after that whole thing. Yeah, Thekla's probably the next challenger they're gonna have for her. Yeah, and that's why
they'll build to Jamie at Revolution. I hope they build to Jamie at Revolution because that's the one part of this promo that got me excited when she made reference to we need to talk about the title.
Yeah, and that's why she's teaming with Jamie. They're facing Sisters of Sin, but it feels like such a downstep after beating Tony and Mercedes that you're just like teaming with the person who lost in the first round of the women's tag team title tournament against a tag team that lost in the semifinals of the tournament. You are the women's world champion. You don't have to do this. There has to be better options for you.
And you did a 1.5-minute vignette to build the matchup, not for this week's Collision, for next week's Collision.
Well, hopefully they'll get more time they'll get another vignette next week, SP3.
Hopefully they can get a backstage promo. Ooh.
Darby Allin is in a hospital, and we'll get another update on Saturday.
Darby Allin would be the guy. He would be the guy who climbs Mount Everest, who gets hit by a bus, who does all this stuff, and then at his day job, he winds up in the hospital.
Well, that's, when he broke his foot last year on the dive. Like, yeah, Darby Allin does all this dumb stuff, and then he just breaks his foot doing a dive to the outside because he caught the railing wrong.
But yeah. I did say last week when we reviewed that matchup, I was like, that coast to coast drop kick is probably the worst bump of Darby Allin's career.
Yeah. They're gonna ban that coast to coast move.
Dude, it's because like this week he kind of fell short on it, but last week it was like he could have kept going. Like the ring could have been bigger and he could have made it. Like he went through Darby's body with that coast to coast last week.
Yeah, that they're gonna end up banning that thing because it looked sick against Fletcher as well. Like, oof, that's rough. Oh, we'll get an update on Darby. We'll see if he can continue in the tournament or if he's got to get replaced out here. Yuta's gonna end up replacing.
Yuta, the replacement, the alternate.
All right. Anything else from Dynamite? I feel like we ran through everything.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Pretty much it from Dynamite.
Real quickly, since we talked about this man earlier, Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo, let's go, is expected to be sidelined for approximately 2 to 4 weeks with a right calf strain. So it's good news that it is not worse. It still sucks that it's 2 to 4 weeks for Giannis. And calves are tricky, man. Like you can't rush it. We've seen like you cannot rush back from those because players have tried to rush back, and that does lead to an Achilles injury. So I would expect him to be out every bit of those 4 weeks. I don't expect him to come back early. And it's another calf strain. Like, he just had one last year. I think it was on the other leg last year, but not good for Giannis. But not as bad as it could have been, because it could have been an Achilles injury, which obviously would have been really terrible.
We also got to bring up Fightful Select had a report about a new AEW signing yesterday.
Oh yeah, Fightful Select did report that Lena Cross, sources believe that she is all elite, and she's been on AEW television before. She faced Statlander a few months ago. She wrestled a dark match on ROH, and she wrestled with TNA, and I know they were hoping to sign her, and she's been doing a lot of independent appearances as well. But again, it has not been confirmed by AEW. They've not officially announced it, but it does appear that Lena Cross is all elite.
It's hilarious because literally, I think Uibu yesterday, he put up a list of all these people that TNA should sign. And, he had like Workhorsemen up there, LeBron Crowan, a whole bunch of independent stars, some even like former WWE stars. He said they should sign someone big, a buzz name like Karrion Kross and stuff. And I commented under that. I think in like the early morning, I was like, Lena Cross should be a part of that because their KO division needs the help and it's pretty sparse. And then a few hours later, AEW signs Lena Cross. I was like, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. But definitely one of the people that has been like a standout on the independent scene. Australian base, taller woman, big size. I've seen a tag team matchup where she teamed up with Megan Bayne, and Megan Bayne was seeing eye to eye with her. It was Megan Bayne and Lena Cross versus Billy Starks and Miya Yamashita for Jersey Championship Wrestling a couple of months ago. And that's when I was like, oh, she's good. She's good. She did not look out of place with a whole bunch of people that we've seen on AEW television and ROH TV before. So I was like, they should probably pick her up or consider picking her up. I think that's a good fit. And especially with the AEW women's division expanding, with the women's tag team division being introduced, Lena Cross is a valuable acquisition for AEW. And I don't think they should stop there. They should stir up Hayan and Maya World. Zeta Steel, I know, made like kind of her introduction on Ring of Honor. That right there, I saw Zeta Steel on ROH. I was like, dude, y'all find y'all Mariah May replacement. There you go. Zeta Steel, Vanity Project. Put your 2 fingers up in the chat.
She's no longer Vanity Project, so I'm not putting my 2 fingers.
Oh, no. Once a part of Vanity Project, always a part of Vanity Project.
Okay. What was your moment of Wednesday, SP3?
My moment of Wednesday was that fabulous FTR promo. FTR checking the boxes. 2-minute promo tells you about the history with their rival, tells you about their rivals' characters, tells you about when you're going to see the next segment between those people. This was one of the most efficient use of time for a promo on AEW television this year.
Everyone knows mine. I spoiled it earlier. The Japanese deathmatch legend, the Christmas legend, the GOAT Luther, making his return on Dynamite.
Yeah. Indeed. All right, I have something special for the people before the C-suite.
Okay.
I have a double dose of best match. I have 5 matches.
Okay.
I have 5. I've watched a lot of wrestling. I warned y'all on Tuesday that I was going to do my due diligence to catch up, and I did a lot of catching up. So you want to set me up here?
All right, SP3. Matches. So is this just Tuesday to Thursday?
Tuesday to Thursday. But
okay.
It's literally like notable matches that I missed in November as well.
Okay. All right. So top 5 matches over the past couple of days and November.
Number 5, Vikingo versus El Grande Americano from last Friday's AAA Azanzas event. Man, the energy of that crowd was insane. The fact that they have finally embraced that Vikingo is the most hated person in AAA. Oh, lovely. I can't wait for matches like this because the crowd booing them out the building, Americano playing babyface, the Lucha Libre exchanges. This is one to watch. I gave this match 4.5 stars. Number 4, Claudio Castagnoli versus Jon Moxley from Dynamite. A superb matchup. Brilliant use of them being their connection with each other in the Death Riders, their history with one another, and a great finish. 4.5 stars for that as well. Number 3, I'm going with Sarai versus Shishihiro Hashimoto from Sendai Girls. That was on November 16th. Oh my God, this is one of the most hard-hitting matches of the year. These two women beat the crap out of each other, and the fact that Sarai is able to get big Hashimoto up and drop her on her head that many times, and Hashimoto still won, these two women are ridiculous. 4.75 stars. Number 2, Kyle Fletcher, Kevin Knight. That is the future of AEW. 4.75 stars. Number 1 for the week, or number 1 for this top 5, Mascarada Dorada versus Commander from CMLL from November 23rd. This is one of the best high-flying matches you will see this year. Some of the things they do in that ring, you will not see anywhere in the world. The fact that Commander can do like this in the air as he's turning around and flipping is just ridiculous. And the slow-mos, the replays are just as good as seeing the action live. This matchup, I have to say, please go out of your way to see this. Dave Meltzer gave this 5 stars. I'm not going to go that far. 4.75 stars, but this is a special match. One of the best matches at Arena Mexico this year.
There you go. You shortchanged Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, but that's okay.
Give him 4.5 stars. What you want? 4.5 stars.
7
Excellent
stars.
match.
7 stars in Fishers, Indiana. Imagine.
This was 1998. This would be the match of the year.
Imagine if it was the Tokyo Dome. It got 7 stars in Fishers, Indiana, out here. All right, SP3. What time is it?
Let me see. We're going overtime a lot here. It is 12. It's time for the C-suite. The C-suite. It's time for the C-suite. The C-suite. It's time for the C-suite. The C-suite. It's time for the C-suite, where we watch C-level WWE shows in the C-suite. Tell them, Nikita. Speaking of which, Big Cat. The American Cream. Buster Rose. Thicky, the Wagon Steamboat. the total wagon. Flex Cougar. Nikita Lyons was on the show last night, folks, and she was in a backstage segment, and it was 5 stars. 5-star backstage segment. She set up a match with Layla Diggs. That is going to be a 5-star match next week on Evolve. I can't wait to talk about Big Cat, the American Cream, Busty Rose, Thick Shaney, Thick Flaya. Indeed. Yes, indeed. Tell them, let them know. This is what we do. Anyway, elsewhere on the card, nothing else matters. Forget it. That's all that we need to talk about. They did a WWE ID showcase matchup on the show. I believe it was Cappuccino Jones. They had Mike Cunningham, and they had Aaron Ruker, and Marcus Mathers. That was a tag team matchup. Reason why I'm having trouble remembering them, because that match didn't even get a finish. If this was Jeremy reviewing it, he wouldn't even be reviewing the show because it didn't even get a finish. Riggins and Presley came out and jumped them, took them out, and then they were joined by Keanu Carver. Keanu Carver is, of course, the number 1 enemy, the number 1 op for WWE ID talent. He came out and he wiped out. He joined up with Riggins and Presley, so they're going to be the anti-WWE ID crew. Then we had Carly Bright versus Ariana Grace. Yes, we got TNA Impact. It's another C-level show. Let's go. C-level show going crazy. And Ariana Grace is now using the Wasteland as her finisher, Jeremy. And do you know what she's calling it?
The Graceland?
You know it! Because it don't take too much brain power to realize the connection.
Creative spent a lot of time on that one.
They spent so much time on that. You couldn't believe it. But yes, we had that. That was It was a match. It was kind of here. It was kind of there. But yeah, that was one of the matches on the card. But the most important was Kendall Gray and Chantel Monroe in the main event for the Evolve Women's Championship. I thought this was a really decent matchup. I thought that Kendall Gray, of course, one of the best in-ring workers out of the Performance Center as far as the female talent. She needs to be the future of WWE NXT. She proved that again and really had a nice little hard-hitting matchup with Chantel Monroe, who has a lot of potential as well. She's got a great deal of charisma. In the end, though, Kendall Gray took down the straps as she always does, Joe Pearl, and she went to the gray area and she hit Shades of Gray for the 1-2-3 to pick up the victory. And then after that, we got a promo from Tate Wilder and Sean Legacy. They're going to be facing in the number one contenders matchup on next week's show. The winner will face Jackson Drake for the WWE Evolve Men's Championship. Tate Wilder was showing his confidence and that he thinks that he can beat Sean Legacy. It got a little chippy, got a little tense. They brought up the whole Performance Center versus WWE ID feud, so maybe these two guys are going to get involved in that program as well, because at the end, Tate Wilder was left in the locker room alone after Chewy and Sean Legacy left, and he had a hand on his shoulder, a big hand, and apparently that's going to be a cliffhanger. Dun, dun, dun. We will see you next week right here on the C-Suite. The C-Suite. It's time for the C-Suite. The C-Suite. It's time for the C-Suite, where we watch C-level WWE shows in the C-Suite. Talking about Nikita, Big Cat, the Total Wagon, Flex Cougar, Lions.
These names. Can't with these names. Oh, all right. Anything else we need to hit on today, SP3?
I've accomplished everything I needed to accomplish.
No. I was gonna mention like Carlos Silva's media run and all that fun stuff, but
all-timer media run where he's giving different answers than their reps.
Yeah. He's doing stuff. He's saying stuff out there.
Who should TNA sign? Who should TNA sign first?
Nobody, because then we can't get anybody on our show.
Also true. I take Chris Jericho. Yo, I feel like Chris Jericho, if he wants to make the biggest impact possible, like no pun intended, but also pun intended. But if he wants to make the biggest impact possible, him going back to AEW doesn't make too much of an impact. It probably has more of a negative impact than anything. Him in WWE is nice, but it's just a retirement run. How big would it be for TNA to sign Chris? Like, dude, that's the equivalent of like Jericho signing with AEW in 2019. That's huge for them if they sign Chris Jericho.
They're the number 2 promotion, so
he said it.
He said it. Why wouldn't he want to sign with TNA? I'd laugh if Chris Jericho signed in TNA.
I would too, but I'm saying I'm just thinking about where he could go that would be the most beneficial to the place that he goes to, and I think it's TNA.
It would benefit somebody.
It would benefit TNA. Come on, stop it. Why y'all trying to act like Chris Jericho? Yeah, we had to live through a couple of years in AEW and ROH, but come on, you telling me he can't have value to TNA? TNA.
He'd add value, but they got their TV deal. It's not.
I am saying with the TV deal, Mike Santana win back the TNA World Championship. Mike Santana, Chris Jericho for the TNA World Championship will be the most lucrative program in TNA history in the past 20 years.
It's something. It would be something. Chris Jericho and Mike Santana. You love this until Chris Jericho wins and holds the title for 8 months, 9 months. Then I would love it because I think it'd be the most hilarious thing they could do.
No, they're just gonna. It's gonna be Santana wins against Kazarian on the premiere, and then at Genesis, Jericho beats Santana for the TNA World Championship, and he's only gonna hold it until Bound for Glory because that's the biggest show of the year, and we need to have a big title change, and Santana's gonna chase the title until then.
Is Santana gonna get the title back or SP3? The more likely scenario is after he wins the title at Genesis with the help of Frankie Kazarian and Nick Nemeth to form the what's a good name for
Thank you,
for
Jericho
Kazarian.
Society.
Thank you, Jericho. I was trying to like not play off of the Jericho Appreciation Society. Old guard
SoCal
is
Jericho,
what they're gonna call
SCJ.
The old guard. You know, it's a play off the Millionaires Club. The old guard is gonna come out there because you know it's inside baseball as well. That is going to be who runs the show for the entire spring and summer and everything. And then at Bound for Glory, it is a triple threat match between Jericho, Nemeth, and Kazarian because they have split by this time. And Nick Nemeth wins by pinning Kazarian, and Chris Jericho does not have to take a loss to lose the title. And
Undefeated in TNA ring.
That is how we're booking the run of Jericho in TNA.
Break down the run of Jericho.
Wait, Blake Christian released an updated Lovin' On Me. Oh, this is the true biggest news of the day here. Hold on. I can't play it on stream, unfortunately, because we'll get copyright struck.
Yeah. That'd be bad. Oh, it's a video? Apparently it's a video. That's what the chat is saying.
I always thought, where's it at? Am I blind? I mean, I see this video about Ring of Honor. Oh, okay. It says in Jack Harlow, though.
Oh, he put his own version?
Yeah. What is this version?
He got the beat.
I mean, I do like it.
Yeah. Or
Okay, now it goes into... Oh,
there you go.
Still a baby. Like still a baby. The thing about the boy is, I don't like no whips and chains, but you can't tie me down. But you can whip your lovin' on me, baby. Whip your lovin' on me, baby. It's not long enough. It's a 53-second video.
Oh, no. That's
Uh,
not good enough for Jeremy.
No. The original version, is like 2.5 minutes long. That's what we need out here. Yeah, but this is good. I do like this.
He's like, good start. Good.
I'm gonna retweet it.
Freshman try.
Yeah, I gotta retweet it. I gotta put over my guy Blake Christian, but we need a longer version. That's what I'm gonna say as well.
There we go.
We need the longer version when the title win happens.
This Friday.
Yeah, on Friday. There we go. Okay.
All right. I'm going to call it a day.
Well, we got a few things to get to. Results of our poll question. Which promotion does Joel hate the most? 9% said NXT, 33% said TNA, and 58% said AEW. That checks out. I think y'all are being a little harsh on NXT. I think he's more, what's the word I'm looking for? Apathetic towards NXT.
Yeah.
You know? I don't think he likes it, but he's like, it exists, you know?
Yeah. He says it insists upon itself.
Okay. As the banner says at the bottom there, I need to announce the XP1 winner.
I was going to totally forget, so thank God you wrote it there.
That's why the banner is there. I had this marked out. First time winner for the XP1. Let me give you the top 3 for this this month's XP1 for November. Number 3 was Ken Bruno. Ken Bruno coming in at number 3. I should have given Ken bonus points for the In the Weeds sign at Full Gear, but I did not. But yeah, Ken comes in at number 3. Number 2, Uncle Donk. Uncle Donk sent in a lot of super chats throughout the month, asking us some hockey and even some baseball questions yesterday. But Uncle Donk at number 2. And at number 1, I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he was here earlier. Louisville is number 1.
Oh,
he is
we got a new champion.
the November XP1 winner. So
and
Louis, let's see if Brian Alvarez has dropped his prices again. We're not paying $30 for a Brian Alvarez cameo. Or refuse to pay that much. Brian's not worth that much. No, he's 25. Nope, too much. We will go. I think Dijak is still 10, so we will go with the Dijak cameo. Yeah, Dijak is still 10. So, Dijak cameo for you, Louis.
There we go.
You will get buried by Dijak.
Louis.
I'm gonna tell him to I'd say make fun of the Bulls, but like even Louis knows the Bulls suck, so that's not even not quite as fun. Kevin Owens,
let him know that he was rooting for the Magic before the season started.
Kevin Owens is probably very expensive though. Yeah, Kevin Owens is $225. We ain't got that money around here. We ain't got Brian Alvarez money. You think we got Kevin Owens money? Come on.
Times that by 10. Like, no, we're good.
Yeah, we got Dijak money, folks. That's what we got. All right. But congratulations, Louis. Good job. Good job. Good effort. What did we accomplish today, SP3?
We accomplished a lot. We spent the first hour and a half talking about NBA and barely got to talk about wrestling. So I think that's a good day. We talked about Chris Paul and the disrespectful actions of the Los Angeles Clippers towards him. We talked about Giannis Antetokounmpo finally saying enough is enough after they lost to the lowly Washington Wizards, and now he wants out of Milwaukee and the state of the Bucks. We also gave you our top 10 current best players in the NBA, and when I say we, I meant me. And finally, we talked about AEW Dynamite, which was a very good episode of Dynamite. But what wasn't very good, what was only good, was Eddie Kingston and Samoa Joe face-to-face. We wanted a little bit more. The Continental Classic is cooking. The Women's Tag Team Tournament is fun, but a little bit misdirection or misbooked. And yeah, that was Dynamite, and that was In the Weeds today.
I think the biggest thing that we accomplished today is...
No, I'm serious. I'm dead serious. The MVP of the NBA. I'm not making this up. For AEW Rampage, ladies and gentlemen, the Greek Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's go.
We talked a lot about... I'm serious. I'm dead serious. I'm not making this up. We talked a lot about the NBA, or the MVP of the NBA.
Yeah, the NBA.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, let's go.
Let's go.
All right, folks. We will be back tomorrow. Myself and Joel Pearl talking about TNA, I guess. Previewing all the shows that are this weekend. I have been informed there is a Tony Khan media call about ROH. That's unfortunate, but I'll be listening to that. Tony will recap the history of ROH and how it's all great and all that fun stuff. So sure. Be back tomorrow. SP3, let them know where you can find you at.
You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. I'll be live in about 20 minutes with Jimmy Macaram to review last night's AEW Dynamite. Like I said, I thought it was a very good show, so that means Jimmy Macaram probably hated the show. So we'll have fun talking about last night's AEW Dynamite with all of you. I think we might play a TikTok game as well on the show, so it's going to be a good time. So join us for AE Ramble over on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Tomorrow I'll be live for our NXT Deadline preview. Saturday we got the True Hill Heat flagship podcast. On Sunday I'll be probably reviewing Deadline or Final Battle, but come check us out. Come join us, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back here on Tuesday.
We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back later on tonight. Myself and myself and Steven Jensen on the Spotlight, talking a variety of things, wrestling things. Jensen will probably be crying about the Vikings because they suck this year. Sorry to him. I told him JJ McCarthy was not the answer. I tried to warn him. He didn't listen to me. Until then, folks, talk to you later on. Everyone enjoy your Thursday.